Welcome to Junk Monkey Live. We're a minute late. We got to talking and lost track of time, y'all.
Gotta get rid of Sarah.
Hey, you guys don't know who this is. This is Adam, the Pittsburg Picker.
That's
I
right.
had to be real careful how I said that.
Yes. Junk Monkey likes to make jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Things that he would never put in a public chat.
Oh, I made a joke about how I was going to introduce him. And that just keeps rolling through my head. I had to be real careful there because it wouldn't take much of a slip of the tongue to put that one out there.
No. You're very matchy today. I like it.
All right. One of these days, I'm going to figure out how to put my second screen on mute before I open it.
Oh. Okay. I don't know. Does it have...
I've done it before, but...
Does it have separate speakers?
No, it's the same set of speakers.
Oh.
I'm running off of a laptop, which has the camera and is streaming, but I've got another screen attached over here so I can have two windows up, so I can have the chat, me and you, the live right here, and then I can have YouTube on the other side of me.
Got it.
And it is freaking hot out here.
It's right, your fans broke.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't.
Let me see. I think I got it in my pocket. Yeah. So that little switch, little on-off switch, it's a three-way toggle. That got run into a heavy-duty set of shelvings I've got back here last night as we were putting it away.
Oops.
And broke it. That little piece of plastic switch is $103.03.
That's ridiculous. Why? Well, there's only one place to buy it, more than likely.
No, several people have it, and $103 is actually the cheapest. It can't buy just the switch, though. I have to buy the entire control panel.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little better because it's not just the stupid switch.
And
you can't find a generic version of that switch?
Nope. And I looked. The cheapest three-way, two-speed toggle that I could find was $60, and it has to come all the way from China, and they claim they could get it here by the 18th.
Yeah, right.
No, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
And I'd have to completely rewire what I got, and I don't like messing with electricity. I don't like messing with wires.
No, me neither. I have.
And something that's full of water.
Yes. Yeah, that's no good. When we moved in here, we had there was no ceiling fan in our living room, but there was a fixture there, and that fixture must have housed a ceiling fan at one time because it was already anchored to the roof. And I was like, oh, we could just put a ceiling fan in.
Yeah.
And it's all there already. And the same thing happened. Like, as soon as we took it all down, and I'm looking at these wires, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to get blasted off this ladder. I just know it. But I was all right. We made it. Yeah. And it's still hanging up there. Yeah. It hasn't fallen down yet either.
Light fixtures, light switches, and receptacle outlets, things like that, they don't bother me. Those are pretty straightforward. Yeah. But you got to have a piece of equipment, and you got like 15 wires going to two switches. That gets a little... Because this thing's not cheap. These things are like $900,000 brand new.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. It's called a porta-cool. It's basically just a big all-in-one swamp cooler on wheels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's got the big hose for the outside.
Yeah. I can hook a hose directly to it, or it's got a reservoir that I can fill. And it's got the big cardboard honeycomb thing across the back of it that trickles water down through it.
Yeah.
Sucks air. Yeah. And it works. I mean, it's not as good as a regular AC, but my garage here is not insulated, so a regular AC would just be a waste of electricity, really.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm hoping to get this thing insulated next year and get a mini split put in here.
There you go. Yeah, that would work out.
Let's take a second here and say hello to everybody. Keith, the pricking preacher.
See, you got it on your mind now.
Keith, I'm sorry, brother, but he's going to stop in before he goes live tonight, so he came in early to say hi. Christopher Nutter's here today. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man?
Sarah is here.
What a surprise.
Yeah. Roman, the Anytime Picker, he's
What's
here.
up, Roman?
And I know people with headphones must hate me because I'm loud. Let's
You're
see
not that bad.
what else we got in here. That's about it for now. I look for a few more people here. And there's a certain fellow that you and I both know. You know him better than me. Said he might stop in the chat tonight.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's a little short guy.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
I tried to get him to come on, and he
Well, that's cool.
But yeah,
I've met him, a few times.
Yeah.
I think if you're talking about,
I don't want to say his name. I don't want to jinx myself.
Well, you have to.
And again, every time somebody talks about him, boom, he shows up.
Yeah, he's like Beetlejuice. He knows. How do you think he sells all those? How do you think he sells all that merch?
Oh, good Lord, that dude can move merch better than anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
I wish I could.
In their right mind, would have come up with merch that is a plush enema and would expect to not only work, but it actually did work.
You should. The video of when he bought all those is on his YouTube. It's interesting.
I saw it.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I get excited. We sold a shirt 2 days ago to I won't say her full name, but thank you, Jennifer, if you're listening. But yeah, and I was so excited. I'm like, oh, somebody bought a shirt.
Have you ever sold something to celebrities?
No.
In the past 2 years, I've sold 2 items to celebrities.
Like through eBay?
Yeah.
No, we've sold a lot to television studios, though.
I've sold a few things. There's a prop studio in West Hollywood that occasionally I'll sell things to, like little, like the LED alarm clocks. Yeah. Like the old flip ones.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's been a few pieces of vintage clothing, like denim Sherpa line denim jackets. Just random stuff and I know that's what they are because I looked up the address. It's a prop place.
Yeah,
Hollywood.
We sold a few to prop places in New York. Same prop place in New York bought a Chicago Bears mug from us, and then we saw it in a Super Bowl commercial, which was really cool. And then
I once had a Super Bowl commercial.
You had one? Or you were in one?
Sort of. I had a group. In fact, I'm wearing a T-shirt right now. It says the Rockhound Connection. Remember a couple of years ago, Facebook put on a Facebook groups Super Bowl commercial?
Maybe, yeah.
Well, one of the groups that they showed on the Super Bowl commercial during halftime was my group.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, we've sold that, and then another prop studio in Georgia bought a few things from us, and that's been about the extent of it. We've asked them afterwards, like, where's it going to be, and tell us, and they never respond.
Well, a lot of those places, they actually just have like warehouses full of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And if they lose something that's a popular prop, or it gets destroyed in the filming, but it's a popular prop that they use in a lot of different films, they'll replace it. And sometimes they just buy it because they're like, I know I'll need that. Yeah. Well, the mug bought for a specific film in mind.
Yeah. The mug was really interesting because I guess they must have been shooting it because they paid for overnight shipping from Pittsburgh to New York.
Yeah.
They needed it like immediately. And it was like, I think they paid $12 for the mug and like $38 to ship it to New York overnight. Yeah. But it got there. It was wild. We never sell anything with overnight shipping. And so they were like,
overnight a Rolex a couple of weeks ago to a guy who was on his way to a wedding and he needed it for a wedding gift.
Yeah. We did it. And it's wild because we scheduled the pickup with FedEx, and FedEx, like, it was like 3:00 in the afternoon, scheduled the pickup with FedEx. FedEx was there at like 4:00, picked it up, and it was already in New York by like 6 a.m. the next morning. I was like, wow.
That couldn't have been cheap.
No, $40. Yeah, roughly $38.
The Rolex was a lot more than that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you better insure that.
It was somewhere back in the Midwest. But anyway, I sold a pot, big stainless steel pot of some kind. I sold it to Bruce Campbell. And he lives just next town over.
Oh, okay. You got a lot of celebrities in your area.
Oh, yeah. There's a little place called Jacksonville that's just to the west of me. And there are a lot of celebrities that have second homes or getaway homes here.
Yeah.
And then, well, the Belushi, Jim?
Jim,
lives
yeah.
here. He's got a new
business
show.
venture.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good show too, actually.
Well, he's been here for a few years. That business venture's been going on.
Well, I know those reality shows are, they're super staged. We all know that, especially when it comes to celebrities. Yeah. But what got me was Aykroyd showed up. And Aykroyd and him teamed up on projects with the Blues Brothers. And I was like, I got to watch this whole thing now. I can't not watch this.
I've watched a little bit of 1 or 2 episodes on YouTube, I think.
Yeah. It was cool to see Dan Aykroyd again and not in the, kind of childish roles he's been in lately. And I was like, I like this. And he showed up in the...
I don't know if it was him that actually ordered it. It's probably somebody in his household ordered it on his eBay account or something. I don't know. Maybe they burnt his favorite pot and they needed a replacement. But the other thing I sold was a vintage tool for working on cars to a guy named Dan Post. He has the Hot Rod show on TV here a while back. It was called Phantom Works.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I did hear that one.
Yeah, so that kind of blew my mind. But yeah, those reality shows, I actually turned down several of them, and I've actually filmed for one of them.
Oh yeah,
4 never got picked up, and the stuff that I turned down, they were all stupid, like survival shows. Like I turned down Naked and Afraid, and I turned down.
We're so addicted to that show.
Oh, the Doomsday Preppers.
Oh yeah, seen that.
Flat. And then there was I didn't actually turn. There was on the Weather Channel. They had one about rock, gem, and minerals. It was called Prospectors, and they were on Mount Antero and Mount White in Colorado.
No.
And all the miners on the show, I knew them, and some of them I knew of, but I knew a few of them.
Huh.
They contacted me looking for a place to film in the winter, and this was back when I was still doing a lot of mining, gemstone mining. But I told them, I said, look, all of our mines are at 5,000 feet plus, and we get snowed out too. And for the next 4 years, not a speck of snow.
Of course.
They canceled the show.
I've never been offered anything like that. The most fame I have is
company we had another company come out and film during the winter. And finally we get snow.
Yeah.
And that was the only time they could come out and film. I guess they call it a sizzle or a sizzle reel, or anyway, they come out to do some filming of us at the mine. We're over 5,000 feet up, and we're 20 miles from the nearest asphalt down these old logging roads and stuff. And the last mile or so of it is all handmade road.
Yeah.
Better than a pig trail. We had 3 or 4 foot of snow, and we're up there. We had no business being up there on that.
No.
But yeah, they started filming us, and then they wanted us to walk around with guns and talk shit about what we'd do to claim jumpers. And we're mining a type of opal that's called fire opal, but it's not like opal you get from Australia. It doesn't have any play of color in it.
Oh, okay.
And they were asking us, is our opal better than the Australians? Did we think the Australians were interested in our opal? And I'm like, you know what? I can see the writing on the wall. Come film what it's like to mine out here in the middle.
No, they just want you to carry around guns and make a scene.
Yeah.
That's pretty
so I was like, I don't want no part of it, but I was already under contract. So I
was going to just
couldn't even shave my beard. I had a huge beard at the time. But for a year, I couldn't do anything. And,
depending on how much money they offered me, I probably would have made a scene.
It wasn't that. Believe it or not, people in those reality shows don't make.
They don't get a lot of money.
You get like back in those days, I think it was $1,200 an episode, and for a season 1, it's rarely more than 6 episodes. And they put you under contract for 2 years once you get picked up. So you're into it 3 years before you can renegotiate.
Yeah.
So it's it's really not as good as what people think. There's very few people that ever started on these reality shows that went on beyond the reality show to do anything with it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I've seen a few of them, and some of them don't do well after the show's over. So,
but anyway, we're going to talk tonight about not so much niching down specifically, but scaling down in order to be able to grow and handle your business a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
So I know
that's our motto lately.
Yeah, well, I've been scaling back on a lot of stuff myself. There's a lot of things I just don't pick up anymore.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, anything you could get your hands on pretty much would sell.
Yes.
It's not as easy to do that anymore. And
no.
When you're outsourcing and if you're going through there and you're looking for anything and everything that could possibly sell for a decent profit, not great profit, but at least a decent profit, you can be in a thrift store for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Stuff up.
Yeah.
Then you walk out of there and you got like 5 items.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons we kind of steer clear of thrift stores these days. Like we have a couple thrift stores that we go to pretty religiously, but it's only once a week. But we're not at the bins anymore. We don't go to. I haven't set foot in a Goodwill in probably over a year. And it's just because, number one, our niches. There's really no need for Sarah to go and get Cabbage Patches from a Goodwill or from anywhere because she has other. She got a fake one that she didn't even spot on the picture because it was a really, really good fake. Yeah. And so we don't need to do that for Cabbage Patches. And then ephemera is real tough with thrift stores. They just toss that stuff. So we don't really, we don't find ourselves there very often. Most of the stuff comes to our house or we go pick it up at auctions. And that's just been what we've been doing. And, you kind of have to these days because you can run yourself right into the ground. If you overspend or you start losing too much money, you could have problems. So
that's the big thing about niching down or scaling back on what you sell is you got to have a source. You got to, or the ability to source, not a source, but if you can't locate a source for what you want to niche down into, well, you're not going to have any inventory.
Right.
So you got to do your research. You got to get out there and beat the bushes. You got to find those sources.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of that. I think that, and I don't know if it's necessarily just the way it's been lately, or if it's just when you grow in this business, that's pretty much the natural progression of, got a haircut too.
Yes, he did. He haven't got a haircut.
There you go. I feel like as you progress further in the business, that's the inevitable end to everybody. Not end meaning like you're done, but like the end meaning eventually you steer clear of thrift stores and Goodwill bins and stuff like that, and you end up just having a group of people that you continue to buy off of over and over again. And as long as the two people, it's mutually good for both parties, it'll just keep happening. And that's kind of what we've done is we've got sources that we buy things off of pretty regularly, and we're fine with it. saves gas too. Unfortunately
for me in my area, sourcing is very, very competitive. The yard sales around here are they're almost not worth going. I mean, we have a similar issue, but I don't count on yard sales or estate sales. All the estate sales around here are professionally run.
Yeah, we have that problem too.
The problem is they know how to look something up on eBay.
Sort of.
But they don't. They just look at the listings and then they price accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they don't look at the solds.
I won't
take into account that up to 40% of each one of those sales doesn't go into the seller's pocket.
No.
So
no.
If they're pricing right at eBay prices or even a little above, I mean it's
well. We had this problem early on because we got contacted, and I won't mention the company's name, but we got contacted by somebody who wanted to kind of collab with our channel when it came to estate sales. So we went to a lot of them. And the overall theme that all the professional estate sellers always talked about was like, you gotta find the stuff they missed. You gotta find, like, if you're going in there thinking you're gonna get that, Nintendo for cheap money, it's not gonna happen. And I'm like, this all sounds awful. Like, I'm gonna take my time, I'm gonna drive and stand in line for God knows how long. I mean, we stood in line for 8 hours one time to get into a sale. That one was worth it. Most of them were.
Depends on where it's at or what it is, but
yeah, that one was two hoarder houses next to each other.
Oh yeah, hoarder houses are the best. Although some hoarder houses can be creepy.
No, these were professional flea marketers hoarder houses.
Okay.
So they kept good care of the stuff for the most part. But yeah, so they. But they all had the same theme. And I remember we went to a couple estate sales, and what they did to us was, and this is pretty much the last straw for us. We went to an estate sale. It was a Friday estate sale. And so we were like, oh, this is going to be good. We can get there not super early. And, we got there. It started at like 4 in the afternoon or something like that. And we got there at noon. There was nobody there. So we stood there and waited. And we get into this place, and there's all these new and packaged vintage sheets, like queen size sheets, fitted sheets, you name it. They were all there. And we just grabbed all of them. And we're like, but there's no prices on anything.
Oh, well, those are the worst.
And I'm like, this could bite us in the ass. So then we went to check out, and they wanted $12 a piece for these things. And I looked at her, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And she's like, oh, it's you. She's like, I'll do 9. And I'm like, still, are you kidding me? She's like, well, they're vintage. And we ended up paying it, and we ended up still making money on them because we sell them for like $20, $21. Right. But I was like, you know what? I'm never going back to this liquidator, and I'm probably done with estate sales after this because that's messed up. Like, you took the time to price the KitchenAid mixer, but you didn't price all this stuff that like is hoarded because you knew you'd have me as soon as I checked out. Like, there was a big part of me that was just wanted to leave it all on the table and be like, you know what, you can bite me. I'd
have set it all down and say, thank you, no thank you. And
the silver lining, which I didn't tell you, was one of them was worth like $40. So we were like, all right. But it still was messed up.
All day for one $40 decent one.
But I'm guessing that because at the time they knew who I was already getting banned from certain liquidator sales because I was filming. Like they knew who I was, so they did it on. But I can 100% guarantee you that if I gave them all to my buddy who was there, who wasn't a YouTuber or isn't a YouTuber, and I gave them all to him and been like, here, go buy these, I bet they would have been $4 a piece.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
you would think that they would want you there filming.
No,
because it would bring more people to their estate.
There's that. The biggest problem, and one of them brought up a good point, is that this is somebody's house.
Yeah.
So there's liability there, and I'm like, yeah, I can get that, but you're right. Like,
yeah,
why?
A
like,
lot of that is they don't want to.
Let's make a deal here. I'll stand out in front of the house with your little sign in the frame for a little while. You let me film in the house.
Well, the biggest problem with all of that, with the filming with estate sale companies, is they don't want the family getting mad at them for selling their loved ones' stuff too cheap.
Right. And so one of them tried to make a deal with us, and she pulled us aside. First of all, she called us Mr. and Mrs. Picker, which was really made Sarah angry. And then so she pulls us aside, and she's like, I don't mind if you film in here. You can film in here if you want. But she's like, don't talk about prices. I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, don't even think about talking about how much we're selling this stuff to you and how much it's worth. And I'm like, you don't think you can tell me what to do and I'm going to do it, right? Like, I don't have a contract. I don't even know who you are. Like, no. And so that's what she essentially said, well, if you do, lie about it. And I'm like, no. I'm like, you can bite me. I know what you're doing. What you're doing is oh, hey, somebody bought someone paid $1 for that Cabbage Patch Kid and it's worth $150. And this guy just blabbed all over YouTube about how much it's worth. And now I'm in trouble because I was lazy and didn't take the time to look this stuff up. Right. That's what she wanted. But
yeah. Well, and in cases like that, it can hurt their business, I guess. I mean, these people will be like, oh, this guy on YouTube bought my grandmother's such and such, and he sold it for $1,000, but he only paid $2 for it at our. Yeah. And every time they tell the story, that amount is going to go up.
Oh yeah. But it's not my fault you don't do your job. Like, just because you're lazy and you don't want to do your job, don't blame me. Like, you've been doing this for how many years? Like, no. And it just got to be, I got banned from a couple of state sales because I was filming, and they were like, you can come in, but you need to take that camera off. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. So, and then we stopped going, and now the only estate sales we go to are family run. If they're family run estate sales and they have decent stuff, we're there. Because all those people want to do is clear out the house. They could care less about how much money they're making. They just get it out of here. Yeah. And that's what we do. And we haven't gone in a while. And our garage sales.
Right. I've got some lines on some sourcing sources, but I have to renew a membership in a club. I want to get back to my roots, and that's the watches.
Yeah, you make good money
selling watches for over 20 years on eBay.
Yeah,
I only started this reselling thing. I didn't even know I never even heard the term reselling until shortly before the pandemic hit and all the shutdowns.
Yeah,
I was just dipping my toe into the waters when that all happened. Mm-hmm. So this is all. I guess it's.
Oh, you got suckered then, because you saw this massive balloon and you were like, look at all they're making money.
At the right time, I could buy nothing wrong. Everything I bought was selling.
Yeah. It was great.
Major, and I'm still doing good. Don't get me wrong. I'm still doing good, but there's a lot of things that are no longer worth picking up.
No, Nintendo,
as far as niching down and scaling back. You got to stay on top of your market.
You do. Some of our markets, though, will almost never change.
Right.
Like postcards, they're never going to change.
People have been collecting postcards for as long as postcards have been made.
Yes. And so that market probably won't change much. The photograph market, not really, because who knows what they're really worth. They're worth whatever someone's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so,
I can understand like historical pictures being collectible and
family photos
stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that sells that just, I'm like, really? I guess they call it Insta Family or something. And and I was like, who's doing that? Are there really enough people doing it that you can make money doing it?
Yeah. We have people, so like the cabinet cards and things that are really old.
Yeah. People
buy them and try to find the lineage.
Right.
And that's what they do.
See that?
And then the newer stuff goes for people that want to decorate their house. Like a good example of it would be like, on a family from like the 60s on a beach. You know what I mean? And then maybe they buy 3 or 4 of them and they put them up in like a beach house or something like that. So that happens. And then there are just people that collect odd photographs, and that's their thing. They like collecting odd photographs. Well, and then also movie props.
Also the what?
Movie props.
Oh, movie props. Yeah. But do you see a future in pictures from like the 80s and 90s?
Yes.
I mean, because nobody's doing pictures. I mean, find a place to develop film right now.
Yes.
It's not. I mean, there used to be a you remember the little drive-through photo huts?
Oh yeah.
Go through and drop. Fill out the envelope, put your film camera.
The little square that some poor soul had to sit in the middle of the parking lot for God knows how long. Yeah, I remember this.
I think Walmart, you can still go. Back in the back, they got a spot there.
Yeah.
The film off.
CVS will do it, I believe, too. But they also make like a little printer. They just shove your negatives in and it'll print them out.
Well, you still got to get the negative developed because that's still raw film.
I think it blows light through it and then it will print it onto the. I don't know how it does it. Maybe I'm wrong.
The film does have to be developed first.
Okay.
That film has, for instance, it's more or less active to light.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's true.
So if you pull it out of its canister and the film hasn't been developed yet, and light hits it, it's ruined.
It can do it because Sarah has an app that'll do it.
Well, yeah, that's an already developed film
off a negative,
straight out of the camera, straight into the app.
The strip of those strips of 35 millimeter that you got after you developed your picture. She has an app. If you get close enough to it, it'll pick it up. You put it on a light board, good up there, and it will actually colorize and turn everything into the way it should be.
Okay. You're misunderstanding. The actual photograph is not developed. It's printed from the developed negative.
Got it.
So yeah, that negative has
I see what you mean.
Positively charged ions of silver under acetone.
Oh, okay. Now I see what you mean.
Set that and develop it before you can then print the picture from the negative.
I see what you mean. No, so the majority of the stuff we're buying is already developed negatives. So you asked me like 80s and 90s photos. Do you think they'll have a market? I think so. Probably towards the end of my lifetime, though. Maybe
there's somebody out there right now that would collect
certain ones,
pictures of people with mullets.
Certain ones would sell really well. And odd ones or places that aren't there anymore, those things will sell really well. But like the family photos, maybe if like everybody is wearing something really 80s or really odd, it would sell, but you're still probably on the low end. The ones that do the best are the ones from the eras that like nobody knows much about. Like the early 20s, pre-prohibition, those eras, like, cause there'll be pictures of, like women on a beach, women and men on a beach, from the early pre-prohibition, from the turn of the century. And like, everyone's like, wow, they're wearing dresses. Why? Or something like, and nobody understands that was illegal. Like you couldn't have a bathing suit on, period.
Not to bring it all the way back around to movie props again, but when they make a movie from those eras, that's how they know what people were wearing is from these old pictures, and postcards and paintings and prints and stuff.
Yeah. So I think so. I think there'll be a market for the 80s photos. I feel like the younger generation is collecting them now because they don't have anything like that.
Right.
All their stuff is on a screen or on a digital camera or something to that effect. Whereas ours were all tangible. It was, you had to have a box with all this stuff.
Remember the little wallet inserts where you could put half a dozen pictures in there.
Check out my girlfriend.
Every mom in the world had the big picture albums. You started opening up, flipping them page by page, and this was then. And there was always embarrassing pictures of their kids.
Yes, my mom carried around a picture of me that it was like beginning of puberty. That awkward male beginning of puberty. I had the big, like brown 90s glasses, and the little mustache, and that was, and I'm like, why are you still? She's like, oh, you're cute. And I'm like, I look so awkward because I grew into this big body, and so like a lot of me didn't grow along with it. So I'm like, so yeah. But yeah, I think so. I mean, someday I feel like Polaroids will be popular soon.
I think feel Polaroids are now, but be careful, folks, if you go online on like eBay and you look up vintage Polaroids.
Yes, be very careful.
You don't really want to see. I've done so recently. Like,
be very careful.
It's like, how do they get away with that?
If it's collectible, it's allowed. I know. The only reason I know that is because of postcards. There's a lot of French postcards that are like that, and they're worth tons. But it's allowed as long as it's collectible in some way. And they pop it in the collectible category, and people know where to go looking for this stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. It is a little odd.
Yeah, there's some stuff on there. It's like it's like it's like, I don't know how you got your hands on that, but some of the people, because a lot of these things are from like the 70s and 80s, and most of those people are still alive.
Yeah. Yes, yes, they are. Yeah, I mean, we've sold, and not naked in any way, but they sell really well if you find them. They're like, girlfriend wanted to be a model, so boyfriend took some modeling pictures of her, and they're like they look like what the movies say are modeling pictures, so they're all and they're hilarious because they're in the style from like 1984. They're in like a log in somebody's on a stream in somebody's backyard.
I can't afford glamour shots, baby, but
Exactly.
I got a Polaroid.
Exactly. And those sell really, really well, like and really fast. And I don't even want to pretend to know why, but they're one of the a few people I know have messaged me and they're like, "Hey, I found all these pictures. Do you think they're worth things?" And I'm like, absolutely. So it's an interesting niche. It really is. And if we didn't get them as cheap as we get them, we probably wouldn't do it. But there's times where Sarah will bid $1 on a high bid auction or something like that for a whole, photo album full of these things, and she'll get it.
Yeah.
And she'll win. And a lot of the times we have fractions of pennies into these things, and we're selling them for 8, 9, 10, 12, some of them $20, $25.
The biggest reason I don't pay more attention to high bid, the closest place that I can go to pick up a high bid auction is about an hour and a half north of me. And there's only two that are that close. The rest of them are an additional half hour past that, and then an additional 2 hours past that.
I tell everybody the same thing.
Specialize. So, like one of them, they're all guns and ammo stuff.
Oh, okay.
Another one is all automobilia stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like posters and I like they sell like actual cars and parts of cars.
Oh yeah. No.
And I like selling car parts, but
yeah, it's a good market. If I knew enough about it, I would do it.
Yeah. Well, most car parts, OEM car parts, will have the part number on it somewhere.
Yeah. But that's like what we talked about yesterday with our, I feel like we would get returns because if somebody brought up an issue, we wouldn't know whether they're being honest or not because we don't know. Right. And
I took a return on a car radio one time, and it was right at the 30-day mark. And when I got it back and I opened it up, whoever this mechanic was, or whatever he was, he may not
probably not a mechanic.
He had to have been a chain smoker.
Oh,
I
God.
opened that package up and the smell hit me. And I closed it back up, taped it back up, and threw it in my trash can. But,
no ozone machine.
Hubcaps, man, I've made some good money selling hubcaps.
Yeah.
But the trick with hubcaps is you've got to have 4 of them.
How do you ship them?
14 by 14 by 4.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I can get 2 of them, depending on the style of them. I can get 2 of them in that. And if I have to, I've got 14 cube boxes also. I can get 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's like anything else. You put it in a box, you measure it, you weigh it, you slap a label on it.
So you're saying you got to have 4. See, I would think it would be the opposite. I would think selling singles would be the best because that means somebody was driving down the road, one of their hubcaps rolled off, and now they need 1.
Well, more often than not, what it is somebody is restoring a car, and it came and they're restoring it back to original. So they're getting rid of the 70s, 80s, 90s mag wheels.
The mag wheels.
Wheelies back on it with the original factory hubcaps, and they need 4 of them. I have sold single hubcaps. But in fact, I've got a big Chevrolet bubble one hanging on my wall up here. It's a painted hubcap with the bow tie in the middle of it. Came on the old trucks in the late 60s, early 70s, and it's new old stock.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably list it right now, and it would sell pretty quick.
Probably.
But I like it hanging on my wall. I've got another one hanging on the wall over here. It's an old Model A or Model T. It's one of the early Ford hubcaps.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I've actually dug it out of the ground up at an old mining camp.
Yeah, so you can't get rid of that.
Yeah, so and it was tacoed when I got it, so I unfolded it, and it's kind of rough, but it's hanging on my wall, and I like it.
I got a signed Steeler photo right there
above the door.
Right, yeah, and that's not going anywhere. I don't care how much it's worth.
Let's see. Other hand, right there, that sign with the yellow dot in the middle of it.
The sign.
There's a big white sign with a yellow dot right there.
Right here. Right here.
On my side.
Okay, on your side.
I'm talking about
mine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's from one of the mines that I used to work at. And it's the
porcelain?
original sign, and there's some people actually fairly jealous that I ended up with that sign.
Is it porcelain?
No, it's hand painted wood.
Oh,
it's two-sided. But the old miners, they had it hand painted for them, and they put it up out in the entrance to the mine because they were open to the public, and you could go in there, and for a fee, you could dig for gemstones. And
I got suckered into that a few times in California.
Well, you got most of those places. They get the low grade junk. They buy them in container loads from Brazil.
Yeah,
they salt the mine, but this mine they don't salt. You dig the actual same ore body that the production crew digs.
No, we were the tourists at the panning for gold stuff.
Yeah, they got
California.
The trough of water and the little screens, and you pay so
much
per bucket.
As soon as we rounded the corner, I'm like, "You're gonna find something. I guarantee you'll find something." But this.
Yeah. Those places are great for like you're on a family road trip and you got kids and you need to do something for the kids because you've been on the road all day. It's a great stop. Something cool for them to do. They get to splash around a little water, find some sparkly rocks, and that's great for that. But if you're actually looking for real gemstones, there's not that many places you can do it.
No, there really isn't. It would be cool, but I'd probably. I have such little patience, so I don't think it would work out very well for me.
Roman brought some. Man, last week I ended the show, and I clicked the end broadcast, but I didn't hit the second one.
Yeah,
I got up, went in the house to get something to eat, and my wife come running in the house with my phone. Somebody named Philly Flipper is trying to call you. And I'm like, so I called him back, and he called me through Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, man, what's up? He's like, man, you didn't log out. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And he's like, no, you didn't. It's still going.
Yeah. Oops.
So that was a half
hour.
It's
a good thing you had pants on.
Yeah. Well, my wife wasn't too happy that she got spotted on camera. She's pretty camera shy.
Yeah. Sarah was like that at one time.
Yeah.
She still is if you have to pre-record her, but live, she has no problems. So you
mentioned down, you got to find something that you can actually source at a price that you can afford to buy it and turn a profit when you resell it.
Yeah.
And you got to know the market because markets change. I mean, right now, if you went out and picked up a bunch of printer ink and water filters, you'd go broke.
Yes.
Same thing with like Willow Tree and Ray Dunn.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All the pandemic shutdown
Wii Sports
now worthless or near to it.
Wii Sports was selling for over $100 during the pandemic. Now it's $20 game.
Yeah. But still, if you can pick up Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resort for $5 or less, it's
worth it. Yeah. But people were paying $20-$30 for those and selling them for $100 during the pandemic. And no, it's not happening anymore.
I got kind of lucky on video games. I found 2 video games. They were sports video games, but they were college sports.
NCAA football.
Was one of them.
That one is
2K14 or something. But it was NCAA 14.
I know exactly what it looks like. It's got a Michigan player on the front of it. If I spot it, I've yet to find one. I've never found one. I've seen so many people find
both of them at the same time at the bins.
Never found one.
And
I found the case.
I found both of them, and I walked outside, took pictures of them, and listed them right then and there, and had them sold before I got home.
But that market will tank too soon. Well, supposedly, because the reason that game is so valuable is that was the last year they were allowed to make it, and now the EA Sports lost the contract. But supposedly, they're working on a new one, and that they've renegotiated it with NCAA. Right. So there will be a new one soon, and that will in turn tank.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I think we lost Adam.
You did?
Are you there?
I'm here.
There he is. Yeah. You froze up for a second.
Oh.
The way I heard it was that the players who were in the games were actual players and students at the universities.
Yes.
And they're not allowed to take a paycheck or have sponsorships.
They weren't.
So I that had a lot to do with it all getting shut down too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully they found a way around.
Am I still freezing up?
No, it's good. It was just
Good?
a quick thing there.
Okay. Yeah, that was part of the reason. I remember that now too. But supposedly they've got this all figured out. There was supposed to be one coming out this year, but I think it's been pushed back to a certain point. But that'll change the market too. You know, it's just like the Squishmallow market was really hot during the pandemic, and
I'm going to try and get Cajun reseller on here, Christopher, and talk to him about plush. I've never been big into it, but
we guess.
I've heard that the Funko Pop market is headed downhill.
Goes fault because they flooded the market with them. Yeah. And I'm sure there are still very, very rare ones. Everything has an exception to the rule, but
even Beanie Babies.
is there? Oh, that was. I did you watch that documentary?
Nope.
So funny.
I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube and like Disney Plus and a little bit of Hulu and every once in a while some Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix. I don't remember exactly where it is, but it's on Netflix or something like that.
Let me rephrase that. My wife watches it, and I
you fall asleep. Sometimes. You fall asleep on the couch.
I watch whatever. No, she watches old stuff like NCIS reruns and.
Okay. Yeah. So your wife is like me, and you're like Sarah, because I watch television and Sarah falls asleep on the couch, or she's on her iPad. Or something. I
watch stuff like I'm watching reruns of the Thundercats on.
Here's way back.
Yeah, way back because, and I don't watch it that often. In fact, last night I clicked on it and I watched about 3 minutes of an episode, and that's the first time I've watched it in 3 months.
Yeah,
because I work pretty much from the time I wake up in the morning to the time I crash. Sometime after midnight, and the reason I missed the last 2 of your live shows is because I took an afternoon nap and slept through them.
Yeah, there's some, and that was the one show. Well, not one show. I'm sure it's happened before, but somebody was looking for you because they had watch questions, and I think it was Emily's mom was looking for you.
Yeah, it was because I caught her last night, and she asked me where was the best place, and I said Instagram. And I haven't checked my Instagram messages to see if she actually got to me in my other. Yeah. So hopefully she gets hold of me.
She's that's a market that we know nothing about either. So anytime we get them, you're the first contact on the list. That's for sure.
Unfortunately, if people dip their toe into the watch market, the vast majority of watches that people are going to run into at flea markets, yard sales, thrift stores, and they're all going to be worthless.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're going to think watches are the same as Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
But, I've been doing this for 35 years, which is why in every one of my recent pictures, you see like my right eye is almost closed.
Yeah.
It's not because I have a lazy eye or anything. It's because for 35 years, I've held a little magnifier.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of messed with the muscles.
The nerves, yeah, I can see that, sure.
Yeah, so it's... I promise I'm not like lazy eyed or gooch eyed or anything. It's just
you're aiming.
Yeah. Well, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with parts that are, there's like one part in a watch is called hairspring, and it's on average about 1/3 the thickness of a human hair.
Oh.
And it's coiled up in a tight little coil. And if you even touch that thing wrong, you've destroyed the watch.
No.
So
no. I'm way too klutzy for stuff like that.
Yeah. So I used to belong to this organization. It's called the National Watch and Clock Collectors Association of America.
Mm-hmm.
And I got out of it because, well, it's pretty expensive to be a member.
Yeah.
And the last place I lived, I was nowhere near any of the major shows. And the place I lived before that, it was the same show every year with the same old coots with the same old junk.
Yep.
So, but this year I'm going to go back into it, go ahead and bite the bullet, pay my fees, because I do now live next to or close to within driving distance of one of their major national shows.
Oh.
And the kind of stuff that I actually make the most profit at, is really cheap to buy at these places because they're not Rolexes, they're not Omegas.
Right.
or Longines, nothing, or railroad watches. Although I do still make good money at those when I get them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But there's a type of watch out there called a field watch. And basically what it is a civilian version of the military watches that were wristwatches that were used during World War II.
Yeah.
But they're all these guys come back from the military. They either had to turn in their watches or they lost them or whatever. And they wanted something just like it because they found out how useful they were. And they were that's what they were used to, not pulling a big biscuit shaped watch out of the bib of their overalls like the grandmother had.
Yeah.
So there was a whole market for these things, and there were just tons and tons of small companies producing them. They all had the same movements in them.
Yeah.
But those things are very, very popular.
I could see that, yeah.
For them, and they're cheap. There's a lot of people who collect watches that if they get their hands on those old Hamiltons and Benrises and Bullivas from the actual wartime, the military issued ones, they're too valuable to wear. But they like that look, so instead of wearing their $500 watches, they'll buy a $100 to a $200 watch from me and wear that one.
Yeah,
pick watches up for less than $20 a piece and do all the refurbishment work on myself.
So when you do that, because I imagine it's time consuming, do you factor in an hourly rate type thing really, before you?
I know what it costs me to go it takes me about 2 hours on average to go all the way through a watch.
Yeah.
Barring any problems. And if they do show up as problems, I don't worry about it too much. I just put it directly in the parts bin. Mm-hmm. The next one that comes along, if I need a part for it, I've got it.
Yeah. Because we were talking, and it's been like a theme lately going around, like in YouTube, where people are like, value your time. Tell us how much your time is worth, and this, and there's a part of me that, I understand that because, you don't want to undervalue what you do and spend 6 hours to make $50. Right. But in the same respect, sitting down and actually keeping like a log of the amount of time you spend on something, because there's always things that come up or,
that is an exercise in futility.
I think so too.
If you're a reseller, especially a full-time reseller, and you're trying to equate and account for every single hour put into each individual item, you're going to go nuts and you're going to lose faith. You can't do it by it's money in, money out.
So like with the right. So like with the postcards, I don't necessarily count time, but I know I don't want to spend a ton of time on them because you're talking $5 to $10 on average for most of these things. So, a minute, 2 minutes. And then if it's something that requires more research, it goes in a pile and I come back to it at a later date. But, there's always that one where that'll stump me or something. And I'll be like, this is something different. Or, I got to bring out a loop because I can't read it or something like that. Yeah. And, if I spend an extra couple minutes on it, like you said, it's an exercise in futility because, at the end of the day, I'm trying to get the maximum amount of money out of something. And if I go down a rabbit hole and I find that there's nothing at the end of that rabbit hole, I still need to sell the damn card. So,
Don't worry about that too much either. That's called paying for your education.
Yeah, that's true too.
The next time one of those comes around, you're like, I remember this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's happened a lot.
File 13, or let's go ahead and get it listed right now.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep looking the same thing up time after time after time. All you have to do is check the market and price accordingly.
Yeah. And that when I first started listing, I was much slower than I am now, but there's certain things that I could fire out so fast because I know what it is. I have probably listed on my eBay store 35 different views of Grant's tomb in New York City. And I don't even look.
Oh, you froze up on me again, man.
Am I here?
There you are. No. Your voice is back, but picture's still frozen.
No, I don't know what's going on.
You're back.
Yeah, I probably have about 35 different views of Grant's tomb in New York City. And I know there's a couple that are worth money.
You know if I see them, Grant's tomb, don't you?
No, we were trying to figure that out the other day. Who is
Grant?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm sorry, I couldn't pass that one.
Somebody said it to me, and they were like, "He's not really in there," and I'm like, "Are you sure?" Because I think he is.
Yeah. But no, it's not. we're not trying to talk people into niching all the way down to one thing. But that's possible. I mean, dealing with Dalton, he niched all the way down to shoes, and he's doing great.
Yeah.
But he can go out and in 4 or 5 hours, he can get 40, 50, 60 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, if you can do it.
I mean, even on a bad day, he picks up 10 or 15 pairs.
God, I can't come close to that.
10 or 15 good pair in a month, 6 weeks.
I'm lucky if I get one.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't have the ability to source like he does.
No.
And even with the watches, the national shows only come around twice a year. The rest of it, it has to literally come to me at my shop, which I'm not going to be there forever. I'm going to shut my public shop down.
Right.
So I can't afford to niche all the way down.
No, and we don't either.
Some things that are evergreen. For me, they're VHS tapes and remote controls.
Yeah.
I can source them regularly. I can source them cheaply. I mean, dirt cheap. The VHS I pay 10 cents a piece for.
Wow.
The remote controls, not much more than that, maybe even a little less on some days, because they weigh on average about 4 ounces a piece, and I pay 59 cents a pound for them. So I get 4 to 5 of them for 59 cents.
Right.
So yeah, about a dime a piece thereabouts.
Yeah. And that's what the postcards are for us. So like we didn't niche all the way down to postcards, but postcards are a filler. You know, they're keeping if you believe in the algorithm, whatever that is, which is going to become a religion at some point, someone's going to build an algorithm statue. But if you believe in that, and it is proven that the more activity you have on eBay, the better off you're going to be. Same with Macari, same with Poshmark, all of them.
I think with that algorithm, too many people stop at just the computer, just the platform. It's not just digital. It's also got a human side to it. The more active you are, the more often you list, the more human eyeballs are seeing your stuff.
Right. Exactly.
So,
but that's the thing. And that's what postcards became for us, is like this filler, because everybody, we all have the peaks and valleys in sourcing. Right. You have a day where you can't lose. And then the next 3 times you go out, you can't find a damn thing to buy, so the postcards became that for us. So like, if we have a little bit of a lull or something like that, we would start listing postcards. And then it became like, okay, well, why don't we really go for it and just see what happens if we, within reason, flood our store with postcards. I don't want to compete with myself, so I'm not listing 300 in a day, but 25, 50 every day. And our phones are always making noise because of it. Now, the downside is that we just sold 4 things that were $6 a piece, but it still works. It's still money.
Not only do they have to be easy to source and list and store, they got to be easy to ship. So
there's nothing to it.
I mean, if it's like big, I bet you I went out earlier today. I had to go drop off shipping, and I had to run to the bottle return, and I was out anyway. So I ran to the Goodwill. I guarantee you there were 4 or 5 good items I left on the shelf.
Yeah.
Because the shipping, it's not that it's harder. I can do it, but I no longer.
I don't want to. Right.
When I first started all of this, man, I'm watching everybody and their brother that had videos out. So I stocked up on boxes, every box for every conceivable thing I could find.
Oops.
I've still got boxes. 4 years plus later, I've still got boxes that I probably will never use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I no longer pick up. I've got 2 of them in here now, 2 big restaurant grade industrial coffee pots, coffee makers. I've got one other. One of them is not even listed. I got to descale it. The other one's been listed for going on a year.
Yeah.
In fact, the box that I went to U-Haul specifically to ship that thing in is now in my closet with a litter of newborn puppies in it.
You have to go buy, and what's going to happen? It's going to sell, and then you're going to have to go buy another box.
It's right up the street. I know where to go get another box.
Yeah, there you go.
But that's another good thing about niching down. You don't have to have every conceivable box in great big huge piles taking up footage for your shipping. I mean, listen, if you've got the area to source and list and store and ship big items, by all means do it. I mean, that's good. Most of us are not that. You know?
No. I mean, you're looking at the room we ship in, and it's not big, and all our boxes are right here, and then there's some down here. But I mean, we have boxes, we have shoe boxes because that's where we ship the Cabbage Patches in.
Right.
Sarah's here.
I'm here.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
But, and that's all we have. And then we have plain boxes for thedailycabbage.com because everybody picks UPS on there, and why wouldn't they? It's only $10 across the country. So, that's what we have. So everything we have in here, we have a use for, except for these FedEx mailers. These we don't use for anything.
Yeah. The only time I use FedEx anymore is when I have to send something to one of the authenticators.
Yeah.
They automatically send me a FedEx label.
We use them frequently.
I used to use them for FedEx home delivery. Here's the problem with FedEx home delivery, and I found this out the hard way. FedEx home delivery is not FedEx. They drive the trucks. They wear the uniforms.
No, they're all independent contractors.
They are subcontractors.
Ground period is all subcontractors.
Yeah. And I've had some just terrible luck with FedEx home delivery. I had one delivery guy pulled his truck in front of my house, marked an item I had ordered, an expensive item, as delivered, and took off. I had to chase him around. I went to every FedEx place in town, including out at the airport, before they finally told me, hey, listen, this isn't actually FedEx. This is a subcontractor, and this is where they're at. So I went out there, and they had gates like 50 yards from the building with buttons you had to push and speak on a speaker.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to get that package, and I'm going to have it today.
Yeah.
Or somebody's going to play hell.
We have a few customers that buy Cabbage Patches from us that refuse to use USPS because they've messed up their dolls a few times.
Right.
So we send them FedEx, and then UPS. Shopify must have an amazing deal with UPS.
Ooh, Shopify right now is having major shipping problems. I have a buddy who was charged $8,000 for shipping adjustments. And it's something to do specifically with Shopify's shipping program or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
But he had to shut his business completely down until they fix it, which they have now.
Okay. Because I was just about to check
him $8,000 worth of shipping adjustments.
Yeah. The way they do their shipping is kind of stupid. So what they do is that we got charged $38 for shipping. So we're good. But what was I? So I completely forgot what I was going to say because I was just thinking about $8,000. Oh yeah. So the way their shipping works is what they do is they give us all the money for everything.
Right.
Throughout the month. So like if we sell $13 next week, we get all the money for the $13 plus all the shipping. And then at the beginning of next month, they charge us. They charge our card for all the shipping. And I'm like, why don't you just take the shipping out now?
Yeah. Sort of like eBay does with UPS.
Yeah, but at least eBay pulls it the next following week.
Right.
This is a month. So like if we have a really good month on Shopify, we have to be like, okay, they're going to charge us like $150 on the 3rd for shipping.
I always leave $100 or $200 in my eBay account specifically to take care of that. Yeah,
and this is going back to the racket that is eBay
International.
International.
Knew who I was talking about. Puddin's Fab Shop. I've got to where I don't watch as much pre-recorded reselling content as I used to. And one of my favorite non-reselling channels to watch is a guy called Puddin's Fab Shop.
Okay.
He's this young guy in Oklahoma, and he builds...
I knew he was from the South.
Oh, yeah. He's just a blast to watch, and that's who it was that Shopify tried to charge him $8,000 for overages on his shipping.
We don't sell that much on Shopify to really worry about it, but
yeah, I keep telling him, man, switch over to Pirate Ship, and Apparently, you can't do that with Shopify.
No, you can't. They have a good deal though. I mean, like their shipping is reasonable, and their UPS deal is amazing because it charges the customer like $11 to ship a 2-pound package across the country, well, from Pittsburgh to the West Coast. And for us, it's $7.70.
That's not bad. I normally pay $10.85.
Yeah, that's what we.
Yeah, so. Yeah. But with this new thing, this morning I had to ship a package out. It was 12 pounds. Ooh. 12 by 12 by 7 box. It's a battery charger, one of the old school ones that actually works.
Oh yeah.
So and those things
charge the battery.
Y'all don't know it. If you run it, you go to a yard sale, estate sale, or whatever, and you see an old school battery charger. Look it up.
You're talking about the metal ones on wheels?
Well, no, it's just like the ones with the little plastic handle on the top. But see, new battery chargers only work when they're connected to a battery that has at least a residual charge in it. You can't hit the alligator clamps together and throw sparks.
Yeah.
The old ones you can. They've got power.
Oh, you're talking about a jump box.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, okay.
You can. Well, they have a jump function on some of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you plug it into the wall and you turn it on. It's got power in them clips.
You could weld with the thing.
Well, the new ones they have a sensor built into them, and if you put it to a completely dead battery, it will not charge it. If you hit the alligator clamps together, there will not be any sparks.
Is this a government mandate? Did they change something? Yeah, it's like the gas can.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. All I want is that little yellow thing to be able to pop it back up and dump gas in quickly. Yeah. I take the nozzle off. I take it off and just dump it right out of the can.
I do too. I bought some of those cheap replacement nozzles. They don't fit good, so
it leaks everywhere. I know.
Yeah, I saved the little shut-off cap and the ring, and I just dump it straight out of the can. I don't know. Nozzle.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's it. Puddin' does grow fast. He's real fun to watch. He's in the middle of building a brand new house.
Mm-hmm.
And a brand new, well, not brand, he's refurbishing a big building for his shop. Going to add on to it. All of this from selling merch and YouTube content creation.
I got into the wrong niche.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of people out there with channels doing vehicle stuff, buildings.
Oh yeah.
This guy, he's not building like Camaros and stuff. He's building like Datsun box trucks. U-Haul. You remember the U-Haul mini trucks with the little box?
Yeah.
He builds stuff like that. But he does do some hot rod stuff. He's finishing up or close to finishing a hot rod station wagon.
Yes.
So,
are you talking like 70s Woody station
60s,
wagon?
60s.
Oh, you're going back even further.
A little mid 60s there. I think it's a 63 or 62 he's building right now. It's like the Impala station wagon.
I want to see somebody do it with like the 1985 Chevy like Caprice station wagon from my childhood, the one that had the seat in the back facing the wrong direction.
Oh yeah, that was the Brady Bunch. That was the Brady Bunch one, the one that had the seat facing back.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Garage, they built one of those, I think.
No, that would be awesome.
But the point is, a lot of people are doing it, but they don't have the personality of Puddin', and they're spinning their wheels.
That's what, I don't talk much about, YouTube and, what people.
I think you froze up again.
Oh, again?
Yeah.
My bad.
We keep getting segued off the topic tonight.
I know. We'll talk about niching down.
Yeah.
But, it is about personality. You got to have personality because if you don't, and that's something you can't learn.
He's real entertaining to watch.
Yeah. Right. You want to get back on the topic now before I get off topic
I'm just going to run down it and then we can just visit.
Got it.
And you don't have to niche all the way down to one thing. But niching down is good because it's easier, and the pandemic blew up everything sells. Those days are gone and fading fast. And you got to find a source for it that you can buy it, and you got to stay on top of your market. Did I miss anything?
No. No, but niching down isn't for everybody. There are plenty of people out there that make a very good living selling a little bit of everything. It's all in what your area is too.
Yeah, and I will never stop looking for the big bolos.
No,
I've Scotty Cameron golf clubs are still on my bucket list to find.
Yeah.
So anytime I find something big money, I'm not going to put blinders on and say I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to look for old watches. Oh, no old watches, I'm leaving. No, I'm going to look around. If I spot something or something catches my interest, I'm still going to look it up.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to dig through 50 boxes of printer ink trying to find the newest, expired ink to sell. I'm not even going to pick a box of water up. I'm going to walk right past all the Willow Tree and Ray Dunn.
Mm-hmm. But if I have never sold a single thing for a printer in my entire reselling career. Is that wrong? Am I like not a reseller anymore because I didn't sell a toner cartridge for $300?
Printer apart and sold the head out of it.
No.
I haven't even. I'm not taking.
No,
they're nasty. That ink, you get it on you, it's not coming off. But yeah, there are Canon ink jets out there that you can take apart and part them out, but basically the printer head out of them can be $75 to $100 just for that part.
Yeah.
But you have to clean it. You got to get all the old residual inks out of it. People miss things. There's always going to be. If you spend enough time in a thrift store or at a yard sale estate, you're going to find something that somebody missed. But
absolutely,
time is money too. So if you spend 2 hours in a thrift store and you leave with 5 items that's going to net you $40 or $50, you probably wasted your time.
Yeah.
But if you pick 2 or 3, 4 or 5 niches and you go through and quickly look for that stuff, then you can take a few minutes to look, see if there's anything else. You don't have to niche all the way down to one item. If you've got a source for it, get after it. Kent's one of the people who's got a great source for shoes. Him and Tommy, those guys have great sources for shoes. And if I mean, a source like that for anything, I don't care what it is. If I had that good of a source, you bet that's what I'm going to
absolutely. Neither one of us would walk away from something like that. And that's the key. We sold activewear, Nike and Adidas and Puma activewear for God knows how long because we had a source for it. And, we're not active people. We know nothing about this stuff. In fact, when I didn't even know they sold tights for men until we started selling them because I don't wear that. Yeah. They're compression pants.
Oh, okay.
But they're
wear them on the outside?
Oh, yeah, it's something you would wear and then maybe put like basketball shorts over it because you don't want to be seen wearing just
long
tights.
Underwear.
Kind of, but they don't go down to your feet like they're like leggings for men. But they do, and I didn't know about it. But some of those are worth a fortune if they're the pros or the ones that like the guys from NFL teams wear. They're worth a ton, and I would have never known any of that, but we had a source for it, so we sold the hell out of
it. Kent's still talking about pudding.
Perfect.
Yeah. But, I still pick up the bags of toys and go through them. I've got sitting around here somewhere, I've got like one of those little Rubbermaid mini tubs with a handful of toys in it. And there's a couple of action figures.
There you go.
and because every once in a while I'll find like an action figure that's worth $80 to $100.
Yeah, I did it with those bags too. I found 3 like early '90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they sold for like $30 a piece. They didn't even have all the stuff; they were just the turtle. And
I found a Transformer recently. It was an Optimus Prime, but it was a weird version of him. He was all yellow.
Oh.
Sold it to some guy in Japan for 80 some odd bucks.
Yeah.
So
it all will sell. It's just, you can spend your time, and that's one of the things about niching down is you gotta do your homework on them, because you don't want to niche down into like Funko Pops would be a terrible niche right now. Oh yeah, Black Diamond VHS would be also a terrible niche.
I buy them. I get them for 10 cents a piece though.
But still. How long do they take?
They don't take that long for me to sell them.
Really?
No, I don't buy every one of them myself. I have in my wallet, which is in the house, I have a hit list.
Mm.
I'm putting together a complete collection of them. I think there's 18 of them altogether.
Mm. Oh, okay. And then sell the collection.
Yeah. Then I sell it as all one collection. It's not big money. It's 40 or 50 bucks.
Yeah.
But as I find them on my hit list, I'll look, do I have it already? Do I need it? Do I have one listed, and do I have one for backstock? So I try to keep 2 copies, one listed, one in backstock, and then I got a complete collection of them that I'm putting together. And if they're just totally ratty and crunched up, and I won't pick them up. And if I've already got 2 or 3 copies of it, I don't buy them. I'll let somebody else.
Right.
And I don't make a killing off of them, but
no,
anywhere from $5 to $10 a piece, they sell. And when you're buying them for 10 cents a pop, it's true. And I sell VHS in general. I sell probably 5, 6, 7 of them a week.
Yeah.
And I've got 50 to 75 cents into them, and I probably make $30 or $40 on them.
It's like postcards for us.
I can
Same
take
idea.
that $30 or $40, and the next time one of those watches that I talked about earlier, one of those field watches walk in, I got $20 to buy it, and then I can turn around and sell that watch for 100, 150, 200.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I went to the bottle return place this morning, $9.10. Well, I can buy a lot of VHS and remote controls with $9.
Yeah, we don't have those here. There's no refunds. No, they don't charge us, and we don't get a refund.
Right. Well, they're dead. It's kind of ridiculous up here. It's 10 cents per bottle or can.
Yeah.
And I don't drink that much pop or beer or anything out of a bottle, but I'm not out of a bottle with a deposit on it anyway. But, between myself occasionally and my wife and my daughter, there's a lot of pop and a few beer bottles. And every 2 weeks I go and I make anywhere from $8 to $12 turning the bottles back in. And I just turn that directly into my sourcing, which sourcing isn't all about going out and buying money. Sometimes you got to be a little creative on where you're getting your money to do it. Yeah. I see these people all the time. Well, we're going to flip a house for no money out of pocket. And then they go spend money out of their pocket. I'm like, where'd you get that money?
Yeah. That never works out.
Yeah. And not to mention you got to have a smartphone, and you got to have internet. Mm-hmm. And you got to be able to do shipping. So there's always going to be some out of pocket money, but there are creative ways to go get cash money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We most of our sourcing comes, we pay for most of the stuff we have out of, profits that we already have in the store.
Well, we're established. But if you're new and you're just getting started and you're like, man, I ain't got much money. Where do I know I can go buy this and that, but I ain't got the money to buy it. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there's CSL plasma right over here.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. I mean, if junkies and winos can go in there and get money to go buy
that's true.
Baggie,
sure.
Why can't you go in there, get a little money?
Boy, you better know what you're buying, because you can't do that again for a while.
Well, once a month, I mean, it's a start.
It's a start. I don't get too many of those questions. Because my answer is very snide. So people have asked me, and they're like, how do you get all this money to source your stuff? And I'm like, I have credit cards. Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, you're going to go into debt. I'm like, no, I pay them off. But
in Panama, say I'm a gigolo.
Yeah, right. You might have seen me on a couple street corners if you go to down. No, but I mean, you do. There's always going to be money out of pocket, and you're always going to lose money. You're going to make a bad buy, and you're going to lose money on something. It happens. But I don't know. I mean,
bad buys happen, and people worry about them. It's just paying for your education.
Look, here's the thing: is that, and I've said this to so many people, is that if you can't afford, to go out and source and to go out and buy things, this isn't for you. I'm sorry, but it's not, because what's going to happen is you're going to go spend all your money on sourcing, and then you're going to be in trouble because you're out of tape. Or
a lot of these people are looking for the classic get rich quick scheme, and what they don't understand The reason they're broke is because they don't know how to manage money. In the last episode, I had Rachel on here. We're talking about how to. She's always talking about treat your business like a business, and I'm like, okay, how? Let's talk about it. And one of those things is money management.
Yes.
And if you're out there spending all your money on your online gaming, buying skins, whatever the hell that is.
I don't know that. I got it explained to me by
money on skins.
I got it explained to me by my friend's kids, and I still don't know what it is.
But they're spending all their money on stupid stuff. They're eating out at restaurants for every meal, whether it's fast food or sit down or DoorDash or whatever.
I mean,
well, but your business doesn't suffer because you're not broke because
no.
But you get these kids out here, they're in their early 20s, and that's all they know is sitting in front of a screen. And, they've got $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 tied up into a gaming computer and a gaming chair. And I mean,
sounds nice.
Yeah. Well, I wish I had that kind of money to spend on just sitting in front of my computer.
The last video I made, which is probably going to end up being one of my best videos ever, and I'm not normally the guy that's pouting or anything like that, but that was part of what I was trying to say in the video is that, like, this is not, this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is not a put minimal effort into it and you're going to make plenty of money. And it was spun that way very early on. Yeah. When it started to get into YouTube and, you started to get a lot of resellers that were making YouTube content, it got spun in that direction, and now it seems to be coming back around where everybody's like, yeah, if somebody puts a video up that's like, make $1,500 in 3 minutes and only spend $1, everybody's going to go, yeah, that's horse shit. We're moving on. Yeah. But at first it seemed that way. And then the pandemic happened and everybody made tons of money. And
Nobody
it was like,
wanted to leave their homes.
Right.
Yeah, so they still had to buy. They still needed stuff,
right? And
then they started getting these stimulus checks, and they're like, I can play. I want to buy some this or that. The other,
buy a cabbage patch.
It was easy. Low hanging fruit's okay.
Right. But this is where
low hanging fruit is gone.
Yeah, and this is where it's this part of it's starting, and it started about at the beginning of the year, but now that things are starting to kind of change a little.
I got sucked into the mug life.
Oh no, I think we sold it. I have one left. Let's
see. You can't see it, but right there where that bar of light going across is, there's one of the big rolling metal shelves. The top shelf is nothing but coffee mugs. Although I did just sell a Starbucks mug on
Starbucks mugs do pretty good.
$33.
Yeah, they can do, especially the rare ones.
Yeah, this one is
the tumblers.
You are here thing, and it was Hong Kong.
Yeah, those do well. But yeah, it's that was part of the issue, and that's actually the reason my channel even exists, because I saw a lot of that happening, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to be that guy, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly what it's like to do this. And at the time, I didn't know I'd be full time, and now that I'm full time, it's it's a job, and you got to work at it. If you don't work at it, you're not going anywhere.
Here's a few things I think about when I do this. Number one, getting rich is stupid.
I don't know about that.
People who are rich people, everybody knows who rich people are. They show their money. Mm-hmm. 10 years from now, they won't be in that same group. They won't be around anymore.
That's true.
Wealthy people, though, you never know who's wealthy.
That's true.
Like the old guy that walks into the car lot and wore out bib overalls and pays cash for a brand new 1-ton truck.
Right.
That guy's wealthy. But these people doing their wrist rolls while they're sitting in $500,000 Ferraris, they're here today, gone tomorrow. So getting rich is not all that great of something to aspire to, but being wealthy, that's different. See, rich people spend money. Wealthy people increase their money.
My goal is to be both.
Yeah. I've gotten to the age where all the fancy stuff means absolutely nothing to me. I want to be able, if something happened, my neighbor's tree finally dies and crashes through my roof, I can call the roofing company and say, hey, I need a new roof and I'm paying cash.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be.
Yeah, see, there are certain things I won't skimp on, and I know a lot of resellers that do it, and I know a lot of people that not suffer, but they don't get certain things, or they don't finance a new car or something like that. There are certain things I just won't, like my truck's a year and a half old, I mean, but I absolutely love that thing. And so there are certain things I'll sacrifice for.
Right.
But, when it comes down to it, Sarah and I know whenever things get a little lean, we know what to do to, kind of push our way through it. And we've done it. We've done it several times. And I feel like if you can get to that level where, you're nominally not worried about your expenses, because there's always that worry, like, especially in being full time, you're like, oh shit, what if we sell nothing, but you get to that point where you're pretty consistent and you do pretty well, you're going to be fine. But it's not a great quick.
Let me tell you, if you own and operate a business, I don't care if it's just one of us in a reselling business, you need a decent vehicle.
Yes. That's why.
Wrong with a used one, but if you're trying to run a business and own a business and you're driving an old rust bucket shit box, probably high on your list of priorities is to get a decent vehicle.
Yeah, Sarah said it really well right there.
Yeah,
and that's I agree. You do. There are certain things you just don't want to skimp on. Like we go to Atlantic City all the time.
Not skimp on.
Yeah, like we go to Atlantic City all the time. Is that wise? Is that a smart investment? No. It's a dumb one.
We all need time off too, and you got to do something that is enjoyable and gets you away from work, not only physically but mentally.
It does that.
So and the older you get, the less of that you need. You never get rid of the need for it, but instead of going to Atlantic City and going to the casino, maybe you go to Atlantic City and you walk the beach, have a good meal. But,
we do that too.
But there's a lot of people out there, they're rich people, that's all they do.
Yes.
And until it's gone.
Yeah, see, I don't want it to be gone. I just want to I want to have that like endless. I want to have like Scrooge McDuck money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where I could swim in it. Like that's the kind of money I'm looking for.
Yeah. Like I said, if something happens, I want the money in the bank where I can make the problem go away.
Yeah.
That's.
No,
if my wife wants something, I want to be able to get in my truck and leave and come back with it.
Yeah. No, that's.
Now, if she starts wanting everything marked Tiffany, we may have a little discussion. But but my wife's tastes don't run to that kind of stuff. She likes nice plants and she likes nice stuff in the kitchen. Admittedly, we've probably got 7 or 8 kitchen gadgets that haven't been used in over a year. But
wow, that sounds familiar. We have 3 coffee makers. Only one actually works. Or they all work, but only one is actually.
So many coffee makers, and we went from pouring the beans into it and hitting the button to getting a cup of coffee to right back to just a run-of-the-mill Mr. Coffee, pour water in it, put grounds in it.
Oh, yeah?
It makes a good cup of coffee. It's not hard to clean.
Well, you make that like,
I do
paint thinner type
makes
coffee.
The coffee more often than I do because she can't drink my coffee.
Your slice of coffee.
Yeah. You come to my house, if I made the coffee, you're getting a slice, not a cup.
Yeah. So you're not a Keurig guy then.
No. Not really. We had one of those. We actually had 2 of those. We had the basic model when they first came out. I think her mom bought it for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we bought an upgraded one that makes like a carafe of coffee also.
Yeah.
They had the bigger pods you could put in it to make like a pot of coffee instead of a single cup. But the pods just got too expensive. We looked it up, and as much coffee as I drink. Yeah. We're spending $10, $15 a day on coffee.
Oh yeah, no.
That you start adding those numbers up, and that was just me and her and my kid. It was getting easily. We were $400 or $500 a month on coffee, and I'm like, no, this has got to stop. So,
yeah. See, we have 3 coffee makers, and Sarah goes to Starbucks every day. So
Yeah.
I hear you.
We have a lot of other. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and coffee is a big deal up here.
Yes.
So we have a lot of different drive-through coffee shops that are every bit as good as Starbucks, and some of them I think are a little better.
There's plenty of places that are better than Starbucks, in my opinion.
But we have up here, the biggest one we have up here, other than Starbucks, is a place called Dutch Brothers.
Yeah, Dutch Brothers is great.
Yeah, and I roll through there on the rare occasion that I get away from the house early enough that I didn't make coffee. I will run through there and I will get a large Americano with 4 extra shots in it.
I would die. I can't even have a third. I have 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and that is it. If I go into 3, I'm like this.
Hey, Kent, tell us about Seaport Coffee.
Seaport Coffee?
Seaport
is that like
Coffee is famous for, if you go to Louisiana, you go to an old school place and you ask for a strong cup of coffee, more than likely you're going to get Seaport, and it's probably going to have a little bit of chicory in it.
Oh.
So I grew up drinking coffee like that because my family are Cajuns.
Yeah. I've never
South Louisiana. Chicory,
I've been to many places in many states in this country, and I've been to Louisiana technically, but I had a layover and that was it. I've never actually set foot like in the state, and we've been trying to go to Biloxi, Mississippi, because we have Caesars rewards for Caesars casinos, and we've been waiting for this because it's a flight hotel package thing, and it's right down the road from New Orleans. And that's probably, hopefully, at some point I'll actually get to go and do the tourist crap in New Orleans.
Yeah. If you go, stay in Slidell.
We're not staying anywhere. It would be a day trip from Biloxi to New Orleans and back.
Yeah, that's an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
You'd be, if you want to, I tell most people this, if you want to go visit New Orleans, it's going to be a little bit of a culture shock for you. It's not what you think it is.
No, I've many friends that have gone, and they all say the same thing. Don't go during Mardi Gras or Jazz Fest.
Yeah, do not go during Mardi Gras. Okay, number one. Don't go in the dead of winter, and don't go in the heat of summer. The dead of winter because it's wet. And there's no cold worse than wet cold.
Yes.
Don't go in the dead of summer because it's wet.
It's inhuman.
The humidity, you can't hardly breathe. Go when it's warm and nice. And I guarantee you, it's worth going once. And once you get it out of your system, it's not. And do the tourist thing. Go do the walk. The cemeteries and the French quarters, and
get a big frozen drink and walk down Bourbon Street.
Yeah. Bourbon Street. It would only take you one trip to Bourbon Street, and you'll most likely never want to go back.
That's what everybody says.
If you're over the age of 27. If you're under the age of 27, you're on absolutely 11. You're going to want to go back every other week.
Yeah. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Once you hit like 30 something, overindulging in alcohol becomes a very big problem. That is a multi-day problem. You know,
when you're that young, you can go out, drink all night, and get up the next morning. You may be
go to work, no problem.
A hot shower, a little bit of food, and some coffee. You can go to work. You can make. The older you get, the longer it takes you to recover. It's a
multi-day. It's a multi-day event for me because the next day I feel like, death. And then the day after that, I can't do anything right. Like I'm like trying to hold this.
I like riding the trolleys. I don't know why. It just tickles the shit out of me. Go down to magazines, ride the trolleys up and down. And there's this one little sandwich shop there that makes the po' boys.
See, there's food there's food from that area that I want to try that I've never had. I had the beignet at the airport when I had the layover. I had the coffee, but I'm imagining it's not that much different than it is on Bourbon Street, but it might be. And to me, having the coffee and the beignet on Bourbon Street is like, okay.
Unfortunately, the hot spots for the tourist, the food there is technically the same, but if you want the really, really good food, you got to get out away from those tourist neighborhoods. Just be careful which neighborhood you go to. But you find some of those old mom and pop rundown places, and you go in there and you get a bowl of gumbo. I guarantee you it's going to be a lot different than what you're going to get in the French Quarter.
And that's the thing with Biloxi is there's actually a town or like a little area like across I guess there's an island in the Gulf outside of Biloxi, and you can go over the bridge, and it's an old, like plantation looking type town, and apparently the food there is just out of this world. So I'm hopefully when we go, we can do that as well. So
yeah.
It's on the list.
Creole and Cajun food is about like Texas barbecue. The more rundown and rickety the building, most likely the better the food.
That's like our famous sandwiches here. Permane Brothers. The Permane Brothers in town, the original, is probably one of the most rundown places you'll ever see. But for some reason, it's the mafia boss of New York. I can believe that. For whatever reason, the sandwiches just don't taste the same cooked anywhere else.
Right.
So,
well, I grew up, my family owned a barbecue joint, and
that explains a lot because I get a lot of pictures of your amazing meals you make.
You see them big ribeyes we cooked?
Yeah.
Man, it was good.
See, I can't get ribeyes because Sarah hates them because she's not a fat person, so she can't have chunks of fat anywhere.
Yeah. Well, this is the one steak I will never buy or order in a restaurant. And that's a ribeye. Because the end cuts they're just loaded with fat, and you get like 3 bites of meat. Yeah. Now, when I want a good ribeye, I go to my local butcher around here. They're called Cartwrights. I tell them, I said, I want a really, really good meaty ribeye, 1.25 inches thick, please. And they'll go cut them and bring them to these meat. I'm like, nope, meatier. I don't want them big hard lumps of fat running all over it. I want some good marbling. I want a nice little ring of fat around the outside edge, and that's it. Don't bring me nothing out here. It's got a bunch. And they see me coming. Unless they're new, they know what I want, and I'm going to get it, or I'll leave there without it.
See, we're strip steak people. That's our go-to. Yeah. So
and even strip steak, if you don't buy the right one, there's a little thing of gristle. The closer to the end of the strip, the small end of the strip, the better the steak.
Yeah.
So it's middle, it's going to be tough.
I recently got rid of my gas grill, and now I bought just like a little Weber kettle, and man, did I forget how good a grilled charcoal steak is. Because I'll smoke it for like an hour in my smoker, and then I'll reverse sear it, and I'll just crank up the heat on the Weber and just and then done.
Yes, I swore I'd never do it, but 2 Thanksgivings ago, I had to go out and get a pellet smoker.
I have one
because I had my regular smoker. It was gas powered, but you would put a tray of chips in the bottom of it.
Yeah. And
that's what I smoke Thanksgiving turkey on every year. Well, the regulator was built into that thing, and so I couldn't. It just stopped working, and I had to go out on Thanksgiving Day running all over town, and I finally found a pellet grill and paid $500 for it. And I like it. It'll never be as good as an offset with post oak and some hickory chips, but it works.
It gets the job done. Yeah,
and it's a straight gas grill. Which I have a Weber gas grill, but it works. The picture I took of the ribeyes was on my Weber gas grill. Yeah, but I would much prefer hardwood charcoal, real charcoal, not briquettes.
Yeah, you can't use those in the Weber. But the big green egg, that's eventually what I want to get. But I'm actually changing my tune because I'm thinking maybe I want to custom build a wood burner. Yeah, I think that actually might be what I want to do next. So I just got the Weber to kind of fill in the gaps between the smoker and that kind of thing.
The restaurant itself that we had a big bricked in smoker.
Yeah,
and we had a big brick with an iron grate for a grill. But when we would go to shows and stuff, we actually used one of the big 250-gallon propane tanks. My
Yeah.
God, the number of briskets that were cooked on that thing. We had it actually mounted on an old John boat trailer.
That's
so
awesome.
we could drag it around.
Yeah, there was there was a guy in California that used to own a bar near my old house, and most bars in the country, like in the valleys and, you know, away from the major cities in California, where people still are smokers or aren't closeted smokers, meaning they, you know, they don't hide the fact. They have big patios, you know, or big outdoor areas, and so he built this massive outdoor area on the back of his bar, and in that he built this grill, but it's a wood burner, so it's this big stone, you know, grill with a, you know, there's a spit on it, and then there's a grill you can raise and lower, and I'm like, that's what I want. Like, that's what I'm gonna build when I get the chance to build one, because I feel like that's going to be perfect.
There used to be a steak house back in the day called the Great American Steak or the Great Steak or something like that, where you could go in and buy your steak, and they had a grill and you could go cook it. And that was what it was, a big stone. Yeah, they would bring
what did they do for you? Anything?
Well, they have the steaks, they have the fire, they do the cleanup.
You just that would never fly nowadays.
No, but yeah, they had in the middle of the dining room, they had a big grill full of hot charcoal with grates and everything that you could raise and lower. You just go in there and you could cook your own steak. But yeah, those are cool. Hey, Tracy, how are you?
Hey, it's Tracy.
Tina snuck in with us too.
Mm-hmm.
But Kent, pizza oven. One of these days, I'm going to own me a real pizza oven.
Yeah, Tracy said she wanted to build a pizza oven. Same. I would love to have a pizza oven.
I spent, when I was in the Navy, I spent close to 3 years in Italy.
You can use your pellet grill as a pizza oven, right?
Yeah, no. Probably.
It's actually really good.
Huh.
I'm not kidding you. Frozen pizza on your pellet grill. It's awesome.
Living over there for those few years, I got ruined on pizza. I can't hardly eat American style pizza.
Oh, yeah.
We just make it completely different. I mean, the closest thing to an Italian pizza that you can find is a New York style pizza.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The thin crust, it's crispy without being crunchy. It's got the funky cheeses on it. And even that pales in comparison to your average pizza in the countryside of Italy.
See, it's funny you say that, because I've met people from Italy that love New York pizza, but only because it's different. You know what I mean?
Right. But it's got the same quality. Don't get me wrong, or close to the same quality. But it was Italian guys who built it, and it was as close as they could get to home.
Yeah,
and it's like a branch of the same tree.
Mm-hmm. So, someday, if I ever build a house, or if I ever have the opportunity to build like a grilling area or something like that, there's definitely going to be a pizza oven in that thing too. I not only want an
outdoor kitchen, but if I had the kind of money to spend like a rich person would, I would build an outdoor food prep building.
Oh yeah.
Tile floors, all stainless steel appliances, drains on the floor so I could clean the whole place with a hose.
Yep.
Man, I'd be making sausages.
No, I'd love it.
Canning food. I'd be making my own hot sauces and barbecue sauces and everything outside, though, because, it's messy and it's a lot of.
You can probably actually get a deep fryer, like a real live deep fryer.
Growing up as a kid, we would use a big iron cauldron with a wood fire under it, and we would have fish fries in the backyard.
Yeah. Right.
Chris, how are you? Lori is in.
I see people doing it with cast iron skillets to shallow fry them. They'll just chuck them on a grill and then deep fry it outside. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, well, that's not deep frying. That's southern frying. That's like southern fried chicken is made in a cast iron skillet. Mm-hmm. I grew up eating it.
They call it shallow frying on the cooking shows, just so
they are, but they're full of crap.
Guy Fieri calls it shallow frying.
Yeah. Well, he ain't from the South.
No, he's Northern California boy.
Yeah. So I think I've been to where he came from. We rode through there one time just to look at.
He's from he's from near
there's a lot of dairy out in that area, and a lot
Used
of
to
salt
be.
marshes out in that area.
Oh no, you're thinking of the Central Valley, near where
No,
Harris
this
Ranch
out
is and stuff like
towards
that.
the coast, and
Now he's from Northern California, like
yeah,
north of San Francisco.
yeah. We
Um,
went to San Francisco, went across to, and we
he's
took
probably closer to you than he is to San
yeah,
Francisco.
yeah. We
Yeah,
we stayed on A1A, I think, or what is that? The Coast Highway, the PCH
101.
101. We stayed on that from San Francisco
Oh, you mean on
all
the
the way
coast?
up.
On the coast?
Yeah,
Oh, one.
yeah. One
Highway
US
one.
one. That's
Yeah,
what it was. But eventually, you have to get off of that and get over to 101 to
101.
come the
Hmm.
rest of the way up.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I think we went through the little town that he claims is his hometown.
yeah. It's I can't remember the name of it. I know
I,
it. The big wildfire that was there like 4 or 5 years ago was right outside of his hometown.
which one?
Um,
We
uh,
had a bunch of them.
it was really big. it
Yeah.
was
Oh,
the
there's
one
a bunch of them.
No, I mean it was the one up. I can't remember the name of the town. Why can't I think of it right now?
Weed?
No,
Because Weed is inland and north of him.
no.
Weed is like 45 minutes from him.
There's a college up there. It's a pretty decent college, and it was
Yeah.
a party school. That's why he's the way he is. But I
Yeah.
can't think of the name of it. It's not in Humboldt or anywhere near that.
Right.
You're going east, so he's northeast of San
Right.
Francisco.
Yeah.
I can't. If I remember it, I'll shout it out in the middle. But yeah, it's a beautiful area. But yeah, it was ravaged by a fire, and it was it's not Santa Rosa. Now I gotta look. I'm not going to be able to sleep at night.
Yeah. But 4 years ago, the entire West Coast I-5 corridor caught fire
Yes.
from the Mexican border all the way to the Canadian border. And they were not wildfires. We won't get into all of that.
No, we probably shouldn't talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Why can't I find this? It's not Shasta Lake, not Warnerville. Fort Jones, not Eureka, too far north.
Yeah, we go to Eureka.
Chico,
Chico, that's
California.
it. Yeah. Yeah, we went through Chico and the surrounding towns.
There you go. It would have driven me
It's-
mad if I didn't know.
Yeah, there's more grass out there than there are trees.
Yes.
So any
Well, that's
wildfire
part of
that
the problem.
happened out there is you can't even
Well,
tell it now.
And they're not allowed to thin the forest because of the mole.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that's been
Yeah,
a problem.
that's part of the problem too. But anywho,
Chico de Mayo. Yeah, no, Chico. I can't remember what school's up there, but it's a party town. It always has been. But yeah. Remember Chico sticks? Love
I remember Chico sticks.
They still sell them. They sell them out here, anyways. They're amazing.
Yeah. Chico
Anything with
sticks,
that like
bit of honey
weird,
and-
yeah, bit of honey. Anything with that like weird crumbly peanut butter, whatever, like the Butterfinger filling, that
Yeah.
type of thing. I love it. I'll eat it. Chico sticks had that.
That's probably why I don't eat it anymore, because it sticks to my dental work.
It does. Yes.
Probably
it does.
sticks. I have dental work probably because I ate too many Chico sticks and bit of honeys when I was a kid.
I'm gonna be there. I played hockey when I was younger, and so I had a bunch of teeth knocked out, and they put in implants. Well, what they called permanent implants that aren't actually permanent at all. They're only about 15-year implants. So someday they're gonna have to get replaced. But dental work, getting a quote from a dentist is it's like getting a tuna sandwich at the airport. Like the prices he gives you, and you're like, are you serious? For an hour's worth of work? Like, give me a break.
I've had a good bit of dental work done this past year, this year. And like I had a crown. I have one crown that got replaced that I had since I was a teenager. And then I had another crown that they're not even going to touch right now because it was supposed to be a root canal that the Navy started on me 33 years ago, and they never finished.
Well, they still got
They
hopefully
put the
they got the roots out.
Well, they got the nerve out. They didn't finish drilling, but it calcified enough in the holes that they left that they're afraid to mess with it.
Yeah, I can see that.
So,
I hate the dentist. I can't stand it.
Yeah,
it's one of the worst places.
So if there's any young kids in here, when your mom is yelling and screaming at you to brush your damn teeth, brush your damn teeth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, for sure.
People are always talking about what would you tell your younger self. I'd be like, brush your teeth, don't jump out of trees from 15 feet up, but take better care of yourself.
And right around 1991, invest in Apple.
Yeah.
when Apple starts to tank, invest a lot of money.
Everything you can afford.
Yes. Trust me, you'll be fine. That's what I would. Anybody that asks that, I'm always like, there's going to be a company called Google that's going to seem really stupid at the time.
Google it. Google what is Googling?
Yeah, just trust me.
I don't know how Google got so big because there were so many search engines, and that's what
there were. But they were terrible.
Remember Dogpile?
Dogpile.
Ask started out. Yeah.
Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves. Yahoo started out as a search engine. I think about the only thing people use Yahoo for anymore is email.
Yeah.
I still have my Yahoo.
They have a sports channel that sometimes they'll make national news, but yeah.
I was a reseller back when Yahoo still had Yahoo auctions. That's how long I've been doing this.
Wow. Earthlink.
I would buy and sell between eBay and Yahoo. So I was cross-posting before cross-posting was even a thing.
Wow. But Google became popular because they started the keyword thing. They would look for keywords in websites, whereas the rest of them would just look for titles. And they became the most accurate search engine. And then people started realizing that they would search something on Yahoo and they would get, pretty much everything that anybody paid for, and that was about it. Whereas in Google, you'd actually be able to get what you were looking for. So
I'm waiting for a search engine to come out that works like they do it in the movies. Show me this. Now take away this. Now take away that. Yeah. Next thing you know, you're left to one person, and it's like, it's that easy. No, it's not.
It'll get there. I toyed around with the AI, the Chat GPT or whatever, and I asked it to write eBay titles for me, and man,
I'm hearing good things about.
Good.
I haven't heard anything about the titles yet, but the
it's too good.
Is it too good?
It's very detailed. It's very detailed.
I'm one of those guys. I don't do descriptions anymore. Like when I did auctions, I did long descriptions and to let people know why they should pay me more money than they pay anybody else.
Yeah.
But I was, selling rare and vintage and exotic watches.
Right.
So I had to have that stuff in there.
If there's flaws, that goes in the details.
Yes.
With Sarah has, certain things she has to say about each doll, but the vast majority of our listings, especially postcards, I have a standard, it could have a bent corner, could have a, writing on the back, could be stained, whatever. And then the only other thing I put in there is the title. That's it.
Most of my listings these days, the title is the description.
Yeah.
For some things, I'll put a little blurb in there, like with VCRs and things like that. I'll be like, comes with RCA cables and a blank VHS tape.
Yeah.
Note the cables and tape may vary from pictures.
Yeah.
Little things like that. But watches, on the other hand, in order to get top dollar, I have to put those descriptions in there.
Yeah.
Tell them that it's been recently serviced by a master watchmaker. I never claim that I'm the one that did the service.
Smart. I like that.
Well, I used to, but then they were like, 6 months down the line, you said this and you said that and blah, blah.
I got a question for you about watches. It's not really a watch question, but it's selling watches. Because one of the biggest things, like with us niching down, was, hey, look, I'm going back to the topic.
There we go.
So, one of the big things was we knew dolls would create questions frequently. You know what I mean? But we also, a lot of the other things we sell don't create a lot of comments or questions. So we don't get a lot of, you never get a question about a postcard unless it's a condition thing, or they're like, hey, is that a tear or a crease? And you're like, it's a crease. Yeah. But And so I'm curious, like with watches, do you get a lot of questions with them, or is it is the community normally pretty good?
Now, here's the thing: people who know watches and are experienced watch buyers and collectors, they don't ask too many questions, and if they do, they're fairly pertinent, on point.
Right.
You can tell the jackasses that don't know the first thing about watches. What's the diameter of the case?
No, that's forget it.
Yeah, how big a wrist will it fit? And stupid, is it waterproof? Those people, believe it or not, especially on my better watches, I will block them
right away.
Right away, block them. I don't want them buying my stuff because they are almost always problem people. They don't know the first thing about watches. They don't know that you can't. They will not take a licking and keep on ticking.
Right.
Even Timex will not.
Yeah.
Those
true.
old slogans and things like that. It's just like Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza.
Not anymore.
There is actually a legal term for lying in advertising, and it's called puffery, and it is perfectly legal. The way Timex got away with saying takes a licking and keeps on ticking is because the watch was so cheap.
Just buy another one.
Anybody that really pushed them about it, they just give them a new watch and send them on their way.
Yeah.
So it was never that big a deal. But you get these people that we live in a throwaway society now.
We do.
Watches from the mid-century and back, watches from the pre-quartz battery-operated watches, the old stuff, the good stuff. Back in those days, we had sayings like "keep your watch and your wallet dry."
Yeah.
Basically, or your watch and your powder dry. It was take care of your shit.
Right.
We don't teach kids to take care of things anymore.
No, because
you get some
they're waterproof.
That's rich and he's doing wrist rolls. Look at my vintage military or my vintage Ulysses Nardin watch. And then this kid gets on eBay and he's like, I want this watch. It's a high quality watch. And they spend everything they got on it and they treat it like crap. And in 30 days, it's broke. And then they want their money back, or they're trying to say you sold them a bad watch. And they're the ones that were asking the stupid questions. So I don't want to do business with them.
No, that makes sense.
Take care of a watch. I don't want them to have a watch.
I was just curious because it could have gone either way. You know, you could have that community of people that just know their shit and they'll buy it. You know, or you could have a ton of questions. Like with the Cabbage Patches, for the most part, the people that really collect Cabbage Patch Kids don't ask questions. They already know. Yeah. You know, and
that one that Sarah redid for me, I still have it. I priced it up high.
Yes,
I got the only one. Some woman, she's like, "Why is this price at $749? Shouldn't it? Is that a typo? Shouldn't it be $74.99?"
No.
I sent her back. I'm like, you go ahead and research Head Mold 19 and then look up African American versions.
Yeah. No,
I never heard back from her, and I don't. Yeah. I've dropped the price a little bit. Every month I drop it a little bit more.
Yeah,
and I've got a ceiling that I'm not going to go below. So
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that, like, you know, we don't get very many questions from the collectors. It's the people that have no idea what they're looking at. And that's why I asked, because that's part of but postcards, ephemera, pictures, all the rest of our stuff that we niche into.
Yeah.
The main message we get from people or question we get is, do you combine shipping? And if they would just look in the description, they wouldn't even have to ask that question because it's right there in the description. But that's really it. Other than that, we get almost no questions. So that's part of this. You know, when you sell stuff that has
descriptions, I got something I want to show you.
All right.
I may have already told you about this. Let me see, where is it? I have sold this DVD 3 times.
That exact one, or 3 different ones?
Oh, this one in my hand. The one in my hand. It's new sealed. The first time I sold it, it arrived with the case cracked at the top. The seal is still intact, and
it's loose.
No, the DVD itself isn't loose, but a little piece of the plastic from the case is rattling.
Oh, okay.
So I said, send it back. And as soon as I saw tracking, I refunded them, including shipping.
Well, that's nice of you.
And when I got it, but well, it's not their fault it got broke.
Yeah, that's true.
And in a case like that, I'll give them the shipping back.
Sure. I give them shipping
because
back.
it's a DVD.
Yeah.
If you weren't buying it to watch it, why did you buy it? I mean,
collecting, people collecting.
Well, it's an out of print thing. The Resident.
I've never even heard of that movie.
One, I haven't either. But
it's a show.
It's a TV show, season 1 of The Resident.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's out of print and it's kind of popular. And this thing sells for about $20 to $25. So I get it back. I relist it. I took pictures of the damaged case and put in the description, case is damaged, case is damaged. And I sell it again, and I had it at $15. And the guy's like, you should refund me some of my money because it's damaged. I'm like, no, because I'll give you a complete refund if you send it back. I'm like, it's right there. And they sent me a picture, almost an identical
same picture
that I had posted. I'm like, no, if just go ahead and send it back to me and I'll refund you your money.
Yeah.
Well, I have free returns. Free returns does not require me to refund your shipping.
No.
Unless the item is not as described.
Right. I wouldn't either.
So I didn't.
No, hell no.
I got it back and I relisted it immediately and even put in bigger, bolder.
With read in the title.
Read in the title, everything.
Yep.
And before the first return had cleared out from my seller hub, I sold it again and it got a return again.
I think it's time to just throw it in the trash.
Oh no, I am going to. Now it's like.
Now it's personal.
Now it's personal.
Yeah.
This idiot. Excuse me. This person.
Yeah.
Contacted me.
I think you had it right the first time.
Myself, I sell on eBay and Amazon. I would never list this as new. I think you should give me a refund. And it's like, just send it back. I said, well, actually, what I said was, as a reseller yourself, you should probably know the importance of reading the description.
Yeah.
Why don't you take a minute to go ahead and do that? And if you still want a refund, simply return it. I have free returns.
Yeah. I'm going to shut my camera off because it's blurry, but still blurry. I cannot. That is one. If I get a message that opens up with "I'm a reseller,"
yeah,
I'm immediately annoyed because I know what they're going to do. Because it's going to be, "I'm a reseller and you're selling this for too much money, or you're doing this, or whatever stupid." And it's always the same thing. Is I used to tend bar when I was younger, right?
Yeah.
And I never walked into another bar and said, I used to bartend and I make this drink differently. Like, never once. Like, don't get me wrong, I talk behind her back if you're really messing it up. But, I never once said anything like that because I don't care.
Right.
So.
And those people are just the worst.
Oh, awful.
It's like,
9 times out of 10,
and you know the crap I'm having to deal with, and you're going to pile on. Get out.
And I'm still going to give you a 25% tip because I'm a bartender, and I know you make literally nothing hourly wage. So, yeah. Even to this day, it's hard for me to go under 20% when I go to a restaurant or something like that because I remember what that was like. Every day you'd show up to work and have no clue what you were making that night. And that one jerk that gave you a 10% tip because his food was, cooked wrong. And you're like, I didn't cook it, dude. Like, I brought it out to you. Like, that's all I did. You don't need to short me because of him.
Now, if I ever do get rich, there's one person out there that does something that I might actually do. Shaquille O'Neal, when he goes into a restaurant and he sits down, the first thing that comes out of his mouth when he talks to the waiting staff is like, the faster I get my food, the bigger your tip's going to be.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I might.
I know what I would do if I was cooking that meal. Not because it was Shaq, but because if they said something like that to me, I'd be like, all right. You get your steak quick because that's the thing. We used to get I started cooking and working in restaurants and steakhouses, and you wouldn't believe, first of all, how many people get well done fillets.
Oh.
But on top of that, you get people that get well done T-bones, and you get people that get these massively thick steaks. And the service staff is always, can we butterfly them?
Yeah.
People say no to that.
Yeah.
That also get it well done.
It takes 45 minutes to an hour to cook.
Well, no, there's a way to cook them quicker. You do what I did and just drop weights on them, and then you get your piece of tree bark with some serious grill marks in it. And that's what I used to do. And people would always be like, "You need to stop doing this." And I'm like, "Well,
I traveled with a couple of people that always ordered well done. I'm like,
"That's
blood." And I'm like, "No, it's not blood. It's juice. It's the same thing." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not blood."
Should be a crime. You should get immediately thrown out of the restaurant. But
I remember a place we used to go that ordered. You could go in and order oysters on the half shell.
Yeah.
And I think they had one on there for fried oysters. They're like, "Yeah, we'll sell them to you, but it'll be the last time you ate here." or something snarky. It's like, "Oh, we sell oysters on the half shell."
You're going to go to a steakhouse. You're going to order the best cut of meat they have. Like, if you say well done, the server should be allowed to say you can't order that. You can have the 6-ounce sirloin. Like, that's it. You can't have anything else.
Ruining one of our $50 steaks.
No, yeah. And a T-bone, that's just a crime to cook that well done.
Now, that is my favorite cut of steak, is the T-bone.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's the New York strip on one side,
and the fillet.
And you got the fillet on the other side.
Yep. I don't like the bone.
I'll
be honest with you. I don't like the bone.
Well,
it's too much work.
2 cuts and you got the strip off.
Yeah.
And one just little scooping cut. You can almost just pull the fillet off of it.
That's true. That's
true. Then normally a good chef will season the hell out of that bone.
That's true. Yeah.
And so gnawing on that T-bone after you're done with everything else is pretty awesome.
No, it is. I'm a fan. I don't buy them because for me to cook them here, it's just too much work, and I don't want to do it. So I'll buy some thick cut strips instead or something like that and move on with my day. But
the sweetest meat is next to the bone.
That's what they say. It's true. I mean, it's true. So I mean, over the course of my career, I've worked in so many restaurants, and never, even to this day, I don't go in and say, "I used to work in a restaurant and I would never," like. So the people that send you messages and they're like, "Yeah, I'm a reseller." First of all, I always look at their store before I respond, because 9 times out of 10, their store is like 15 things, and of those 15 things, 12 of them are Beanie Babies, and the rest of them are coffee mugs.
I look at their feedback. The guy who says, "I'm a reseller myself," over the DVD. I look, he's got like 124 feedbacks.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
Not yet.
No, you'll get there. Stop buying the Beanie Babies.
You're not even an apprentice yet, buddy. You're still a rookie. But I do that sometimes. I'll research people. I get people who ask me those questions. I'll go look at their page. How long have they been on eBay? What's their feedback like? And especially people who are sending me offers, I'll go look at the feedback that they have left for others. And if I start seeing a lot of red, nope, I ain't doing business.
Yeah, I'm of the same thing. We don't do it much anymore because a lot of our offers, that's another thing the ephemera's kind of weeded out, is a lot of these crappy people that buy stuff on eBay.
Yeah. Well, and so that kind of stuff is not, we sell to different styles of people. You sell to collectors. They know what they're looking at. I'm selling to people right now. Luxury wristwatches is an investment. Not really. They're really not. But everybody thinks it is right now. It's like everybody thought Beanie Babies were investments. Everybody thinks Funko Pops are investments. The stuff that are made to be investments, collectible like that, they never work.
No.
If their big thing is limited edition, it's so popular, collect them now before they're gone. They're never gone. They just make more until people get sick of buying them, and then they crash and burn. So real collectors know real collectibles. Yeah. Whereas luxury items, you got two things. You got the people who think they're investment and that they can buy it from me for $1,000 and then go run to 47th Street because they watched some YouTube watch buyers on YouTube.
Right.
And they're going to go to 47th Street in New York and they're going to go sell it to a dealer for twice what they paid me. No, because I sell to those guys too.
Right.
So, and then you get the people who think they're buying something brand new. They want a 1-year warranty. Does it keep
Okay.
perfect time? I'm like, brand new ones don't keep perfect time.
No.
I can take a brand new watch, any Rolex that anybody buys, I just about guarantee you could go buy one right now from an authorized dealer, a brand new Rolex watch, and bring it to me. I have a machine that I can attach it to. And I guarantee you it does not keep perfect time.
No.
I can
Apple Watch.
I can make a couple of adjustments and make it keep better time.
Yeah. You want something that keeps perfect time, buy an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Something connected to the internet.
Digital or quartz. Yeah. Because they're plus or minus a third of a second within a calendar year. Whereas a mechanical watch it's different. People have different standards, but a really good one is plus 10 seconds, minus 5 seconds per day.
Wow.
You're talking a minute a week.
Wow.
4 or 5 minutes a month.
No wonder people didn't live so long back then.
Well, back like I said, we hit on this earlier. People took care of their watches. You'd be amazed
People
how many
took care of everything.
Even know how to wind and set their watches.
Up until my dad tried to go get a plasma screen TV fixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
we used to get things fixed.
No. Yeah. I mean, people used to fix their shoes. People used to resole their shoes. There's all kinds of stuff that we don't do anymore. We just chuck things in the trash and then move on.
The biggest thing in the watch world right now is what we call tool watches, chronographs. They've got built-in stopwatches. Oh, yeah. 99.9% of the people who own chronograph watches don't know how to operate them. I see it every single day. People, especially the quartz-powered ones, they're like, well, the second hand ain't moving, and they start pushing buttons, and then they see the second hand moving. Well, they don't know that's not the second hand. That's the stopwatch hand. Their second hand is either at 6 or 9 o'clock, and it's small.
Yeah.
And so they leave it running 24/7. And it drains the life out of the battery. It puts undue wear and tear on the movement. And even the cheap chronographs, to get them a new movement for them, is not really that cheap. They can buy a new watch cheaper than I can fix it. But I see it every day. They ruin these watches because people, they don't even know how to operate what they're buying.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've never been a watch guy. When I was younger, I wore watches. I wore an Apple Watch when they first came out, and I got one. I still don't wear it. I'll wear it if we go on vacation or something like that. But
I don't even call those things watches. Those are wrist computers that happen to tell time.
That's true. That's accurate.
Well, my world is getting smaller and smaller. Mm-hmm. There are fewer and fewer people who know how to do what I do.
But there's a very good possibility that it could get bigger. Because people, I feel like the younger generation is starting to realize that the vast majority of stuff that they buy is crap. And that's why people are buying a lot of old clothing, old shoes, old stuff, because they're realizing that the new stuff is just garbage. Yeah. So I feel like your world could get bigger at some point, because there could come a day where people are like, don't buy this. They're garbage. Buy this.
As small as it is, I wouldn't have been able to make a living doing it for the last 35 years because I would have had competition. I've never lived in a spot where I was a watchmaker that there was another qualified watchmaker in the same town as me. Beaumont, Texas, we had a guy there that was working on watches. I used to send him a Christmas card for sending me so much business. I mean, I did that. I probably shouldn't have, but I used to send him a thank you card at Christmas time for sending me.
Oh, wait, he didn't actually send you business. He just sucked.
Yeah, he would mess. He would mess their watches up, and they'd bring them to me to fix them. He was, a job that I was charging $75 to $100 for, he was charging $20 and $35. because he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, he would literally take the back off a watch, take some carburetor or brake cleaner, spray it in the watch, shake the excess out, and put their watch back together and hand it back to him. And I mean, that was probably worst case scenario, but there was a lot of things he did that were just completely wrong. Yeah. He messed a lot of people's watches up.
There's
fixing them.
There's many good internet videos of, you know, what it really is like with the guy that does things cheaper. And it's very true. It's very true. You know, the vast majority of time, if it's that much of a price difference, there's that much of a quality difference.
Good is not cheap, and cheap is not good.
That's true.
It doesn't matter if you're buying tools or getting your car worked on or getting your Rolex rebuilt or your family heirloom pocket watch. It's the guy who's doing it real cheap, probably working on his kitchen table or in his garage. But
yeah,
but you know, I invested a lot of years and a lot of money into being a watchmaker. So.
Yeah, and you should definitely get paid for what your experience dictates.
And it's a risk. Every time I take the back off a watch and start fiddling around, I'm gambling my livelihood.
Yeah. I just had a very similar thing happen to me today where I was trying to get paid what I was worth. I won't go in. I'll tell you afterwards if you want to know about it. I can't go into specifics, but you know, it's very hard, number one, to tell people what you feel you're worth, and then number two, when they think you're not worth it, you get a little upset about it, and you're like, no, I'm definitely worth this, and you can bite me.
I mean, jewelry store owners I've heard say or had tell me, watchmakers think they're worth too much money. Jewelers think they're worth too much money. I'm like, well,
that's fine.
Good luck running your business with
no, right? Yeah. And that's essentially what I told this person this afternoon. Is like, all right, that's fine. Keep failing. Have a nice day.
Like, well, you just keep on hiring those self-taught guys and the guys straight out of school.
You might get lucky. You might.
You want somebody with experienced and well trained. It's going to cost you.
Yeah.
And if not, well, I'll be taking your customers from you when I.
That's right. That's right. No, it's true. I've spent much of my life doing that exact scenario, and you know, you can tell the people that appreciate the experience and the people that don't. And if you don't, then all right, good knowing you.
Yeah,
I'll see you at the unemployment line maybe when I'm walking by.
And the worst ones are the pawn shops. They bring me, "What is this real?" Yeah, but it's not. Well, how much is it going to cost to fix it? I'll tell them. Well, can't you just? Are the absolute worst words anybody could ever say. The answer every single time is no.
Yeah.
Well, all I want, I don't care what you want. The watch needs this. I'm going to do a whole job or I'm going to do no job.
Yeah.
Here you go. You know how many of them have bucked up and paid?
None.
0.
Oh, yeah. I could believe that.
Yeah.
I've watched the reality shows. I know how cheap those people are.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm telling you this.
But in their defense, you can't own a pawn shop and be not cheap. It's probably impossible because you got a business.
If whoever they got that watch from, they were probably hard up, and they probably only got a couple $100 on a loan that they defaulted on. Now this guy owns a $5,000 watch, and he paid $200 for it, and he won't pay me $1,200 to fix it right.
No.
So no,
that's
like,
just the way they are.
Buddy, or you know, mail it off somewhere. Maybe you get it back. Maybe you won't. Maybe they'll do it. Well, I don't know. Don't care.
Yeah.
I don't need your business.
Right.
But what gets me is that most people in this town know that I buy those things.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they end up going to a pawn shop because they think they're going to get it back.
Famous last word. That's why they're. That's why they're
get a loan on it, and I'll pay that loan off, and I'll get it back. No, you won't. You should bring it to me and sell it to me. They're only going to loan you $200. I'll give you $500 for it or $1,000 for it. Oh no, I don't want to lose it. I want to keep it. I'm like,
that's why they're so popular.
You're going to lose it.
That's why they make money. They get tons of free stuff, or not free stuff, but stuff for cheap.
Cheap. I had one of them bring me a Omega the other day. Fake. So, this guy has nothing but good stuff.
Oops.
You just handed me a fake watch, and you're in here, and you're going to tell me that you didn't know this was fake. How do you know the rest of the watches that he lent?
You better go check them.
He always picks them up. I'm like, man, this is a bad watch. It's not a good watch. There's nothing good about it. It was an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak offshore. I mean, this is a $30,000 to $50,000 watch, and it's got a cheap Chinese clone movement in it.
Oops.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's not, and it was broke to begin with. Spun around, all the little markers on the dial were floating around in it. I'm like, man, it's not a legitimate watch.
That's crazy.
And he's not the only one. There's a local jeweler in the mall. He literally offered me a job to quit working where I was at a legitimate repair shop and come work for him in the mall. I was like, nope.
No, that would be
every time he comes in, he's got some fashion watch, just low grade piece of crap. He brought in an Omega that was completely fake. I'm like, no, I'm not. Well, can't you just not touching it? I don't touch fakes.
No, neither do we. We've with the Cabbage Patches, they were faked quite a bit back in the 80s, and we don't touch them.
Yeah. No, it's one thing to put an outfit of some kind on them that works. It's like most of another strap on a watch.
Most of her rehabs don't have, but it's in the description that it's. But but they fake the head molds, they fake the bodies, they faked all kinds of stuff.
The fake Cabby that I found today, it just kind of looked a little off. It was a little small.
Yep.
I picked it up just to see and it didn't even have hands, and it didn't even have Cabby hands.
No. Well,
the sleeve went all the way over and was sewed to the end of. I rolled it around, and where the head mold is normally at, it just said Hong Kong.
Yeah. No, they're some of the knockoffs, not the ones that are like pure knockoffs, but the ones that kind of just copied the idea of them. Some of them can be worth decent money. But
go ahead. Sorry.
We don't sell anything that claims to be a Cabbage Patch and tries to, that we won't sell it. It just, we can't, we would never.
I remember when Cabbage Patch first got popular back in the mid 80s. There was a woman up the street from us. She got one of these little garden sheds, put it out by the side of the road, and she had a Cabbage Patch business.
Oh yeah. A lot of people.
But at the same time, you could, and she did some of this too. You could actually go buy cabbage doll making kits to make similar dolls, and they were made out of like pantyhose and stuffing and stitched this way and that way, and they looked just like cabbage. Now, they didn't have the rubber head, right? But you could, they'd have a way to tie it up. I mean, those were popular too. I'm betting that if we
see tons of them.
Can you still get the unused kits?
I don't know about that. But we see tons of the homemade dolls. And I mean, they have a market for them, but they're not anywhere near what the soft Cabbage Patches would be worth.
Right.
So, yeah, they're but yeah, we see them all the time. Sarah looks at them and she's like, "Oh, somebody did do a good job on this one."
Probably. Coming back around to the watches, I've seen so many of them for so many years. I can literally spot them from 8 feet away.
No, I bet. Yeah.
And I'm like, they go to hand it to me, and I'm like, that's fake. And I've had to stop doing that because people find that very offensive.
Oh yeah. They very.
So
offensive.
now they hand it to me, and I shake it, and I look at it, and I take my headband magnifier, and I'll do this and that, and I'm like, has enough time passed? I'm not even looking at the damn thing.
Yeah.
And then I hand it back and say, sorry, it's not real.
Yeah. Sarah can spot a fake cabbie from across the room.
Right.
Very easily. So, the longer you do it, the more you know what you're doing.
What gets me is the people, well, what part of it's not real?
All of it.
What makes you think it's fake? I'm like 35 years experience. 13 of them working for Rolex, or a Rolex authorized dealer, as their repair technician. I'm telling you, it's fake. There's no part of it was made by Rolex. I look online and it looks just like. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, they don't put one Rolex part in a fake watch. They just it's all fake.
You're amazed how many people try to sit there and argue with me.
Oh no, I wouldn't. People argue with us all the time.
After I tell them it's fake, walk up the street to one of the pawn shops and try to sell it there and tell them that I said it was real. And they're like, really? And they called me, did you tell this guy this thing? I'm like, no, as a matter of fact, I told him it was fake, and I had to all but run him out of my shop.
Yeah. Now, it happens to us all the time. People argue with us all the time about values on things, and that's why we've stopped.
Yeah.
Well, not all together, but the general public, if they ask.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, we're like, we just don't do values anymore because people argue with us.
And then I do get a lot of people that come in specifically to sell me watches. It's worth this. I'm like, after it's refurbished. Yeah, but you can do the work. I'm like, look, I can't buy it for what it might be after I put in an untold number of time and money and effort. I can only buy and sell things for what they are at the moment the transaction takes place.
Yeah.
Is it fully refurbished right now, ready to rock and roll with a 1-year warranty on it? Well, no. I'm like, well, then I can't buy it from you for that kind of money.
Yeah. Did the sign on the front of the store say UNICEF? Because I don't think it did.
Yeah, so. I'm like, I can't buy. That's the other thing. It's like, I can't buy it from you for the same price that I have to sell it for.
Right.
That's called breaking even, and I actually lose money because I still got to pay my overhead.
Yeah.
Whether I make money or not, I still have to. And if I'm breaking even, I'm not making money. I pay my overhead, and I've lost money.
We used to get that at garage sales all the time.
Yeah.
You know, people would try to, they would, oh, well, you know, it sells for $25 on eBay. Well, no, it doesn't. It sells for 15. All right, well, 15 then. And I'm like, well, then what am I going to sell it for?
Right.
Oh, well, you know, it's not my problem. I'm like, well, you can keep it. See you later.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't need to buy it. Like, for every one of you, there's 30 people that will just want to get rid of their stuff. So have a nice day.
Yeah. and, you know, they still don't understand it if they price it at the same thing that it's selling for on eBay, that the people who are selling it at that price on eBay, they're only getting 40% of that price doesn't go in their pocket. Right. It goes in other people's pockets.
Right. Yeah. No, 9 times out of 10, it's the same thing. They're looking at listed items and not sold items. I mean, that's, you know, I could ask $300 for, you know, this marker if I wanted to. eBay would have no problem with it. It's not, they're not going to stop me, you know, but that doesn't mean it's worth $300.
Yeah. I tell people, I'm like, you can ask whatever you want.
Yeah.
But what it actually sells for is a completely different story.
Yeah.
And
But
even that is not the complete story.
I've used this analogy before. I've been like, you know, you drive down the street and there's 3 or 4 gas stations around. The guy at the one end of the street isn't asking $68 a gallon, and the other 3 are asking $3.50 a gallon. You know why? Because the guy down the street wouldn't sell any gas. So he's competitive with the rest of the people. Like, that's how this works.
Right.
So, yeah, and people, then I get the snide comments, and people think I'm a jerk, so then I have to leave.
More often than not, I don't even argue with them. I don't try to educate people. And when they come in to sell me watches, if they don't start handing me eBay stuff and they ask me if I want to buy it, sure, what do you got to get out of it? And if they tell me $20 and it's worth it, I give it to them. Mm-hmm. If they ask me what it's worth, I'm honor bound to tell them what it's worth. But before I give them a chance to say, okay, I'll take it, I'm like, that's not what I'm going to pay you for it. Right. But if they tell me $20 and they're sitting there holding a $500 watch, I'm going to give them $20, take the half $500, my mouth shut.
Bet your ass you are.
and that's one of the reasons people get so mad at us resellers, is because every once in a while we brag about getting a deal like that. And they're like, oh, you ripped them off. Yeah, but no, I didn't. They had no idea what it was worth. They wanted $20. I gave them $20. And listen, that's one home run. I've got 300 dead listings right behind me. I paid good money for every single one of those 300 items, and they're just sitting there. This $500 home run is what keeps me afloat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, I have never fed into that you know, typically the people that are making those comments are just jealous you did it.
Or they're just dumb.
That too.
It's like the people who say, oh, you resellers ruin thrift stores. There's nothing good left. Y'all take it all and run the. I'm like, listen, every reseller in America added together, if you took all the stuff that we bought and put it in a pile, it's less than half of a percent of the items that thrift stores have.
To be fair, most resellers are running away from chain thrift stores anyways.
Well, they're pricing up too high. Right. They're doing the same bad research that
Well,
people at the estate sales and yard sales are doing.
I know we're getting really tight on time here, so I don't
Yeah.
want to start too much of a debate with you about it, but they've always done that.
Yeah.
It's just more prominent now. It's just,
Well, it's easier for people to talk about it too.
yeah, that too. Yeah, they've always done this. They've always overpriced garbage that, and you can tell just by looking at the items, when you walk in and you see, a Princess Diana Beanie Baby that they want $45 for. And you're like,
Oh, the Habitat Restore, right up the street from, right down the road.
Yeah.
I go in there a lot. And they keep getting these Black Diamond VHS tapes and putting the stupid prices on them. They've got the
band cover.
Jungle Book a copy of Jungle Book right there.
Yeah.
Just as you walk through the door in a glass case, $150, rare. And I'm like,
Hello.
how many copies do you want me to bring you for $20?
Right. The band Little Mermaid cover.
Oh yeah, it took me a long time to find one of those.
We found one the first day we were out.
My first wife had one, and she got it brand new back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I've looked for one ever since. And
they're worthless.
I found my first one. And then since then, I bet you I found 20 or 30 of them.
Oh, yeah. They're worthless.
Well, no, they're not worthless.
Well, not worthless, but they're not $500.
No.
Yeah.
You can get $10, $15 for one in decent.
I think that's what we got for it when we first started reselling. We found one,
If
and
it's
we
a
thought
little
we hit
beat
the
up,
mother
it's no
load.
different than any other VHS. It's going to be $5.
Yeah.
And if you give somebody a discount or take an offer, it's $4. So
yeah, I don't know. It's always interesting talking to people, just being on YouTube and stuff like that. And it's always interesting talking to people, especially people that just got into the business or something like that. And they're like, I go to thrift stores, and I just can't find anything. And I'm always like,
that's
why?
Because you're looking for the same thing everybody else is looking for.
That's right. I'm like, try something else.
I source almost exclusively at Goodwill,
which is rare.
Places, but I don't go in there looking for Jordans because I know they're not there. And if they do show up, they've got them priced at $100.
Right.
I don't go in there looking for the bread and butter. Every YouTube channel on YouTube is talking about these and that. I don't look. If I walk past that area and I see one, I'll pick it up and I'm like, yep, it's still too much, and put it right back down. I'll go down the man aisle and look up the new in package weird tools and parts. A lot of resellers are too lazy to buy, test, clean, package, and ship VCRs.
Yeah.
So I still do pretty good with those. Golf clubs are very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm trying to get away from them, but I keep finding decent ones.
Yeah. But I mean, if you buy them right, who cares? Just price it just undercut everybody and throw it up there.
Yeah, Roman, I've never found a Rolex at a good price. Now, I have found Ultra watches. There are some exceedingly rare watches that most people have never heard of. LaCultra being one of them. I have picked up several LaCultra 18 karat gold watches for $1.49 at Goodwill's, and turned around and sold them for hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars.
You're gonna have to send me a picture of what this watch looks like, because
they look like any other watch, but it's
but that doesn't help me.
Patek Philippe is another one, but you got to be careful because more often than not, when you run across these big name brands in a junk store or a flea market or yards, they're fake.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where we were talking about, I can spot a fake watch across the room. Sarah can spot a fake cabbie across the room.
Yep.
I can also spot the real deal pretty damn quick.
Well, when you found your home run cabbie, that was the first.
Yeah. I had no idea what it was till I got it out to the truck and started looking at it a little closer.
Yeah. And I remember when you sent her the message, all I heard was, "Oh my God." When I'm like, "What?" And she turned it towards me and I went, "Oh, who had that?" And she said, "Junk Monkey." And I'm like, "Where did he find it?" And she's like, "He paid $1.50 at Goodwill for it." And I'm like, "Good God." But
Yeah,
yeah, you can find. I mean, and that's the thing with thrift stores is that you have the waves where you have to do really well and then you get
well,
nothing. But if you can sustain it, then great. But
yeah.
you
Really
know,
anymore when I'm in the thrift stores, I'm looking for those big bolo items. And it's kind of exciting, walk in there and come
oh
out
yeah,
with a $500 Woods Brothers golf club,
oh yeah,
$500 big box PC video game.
yeah. Oh, it's
Things
awesome.
like that. I'm still going to pick up my VCRs, my 10-cent VHS, but what I'm really looking for are those.
Mhm.
I had this discussion with somebody not long ago. I'm not a picker. I'm a cherry picker.
I like that.
I'm not picking. I'm not trying to fill my cart with run of the mill stuff. Now I've got things that are bread and butter to me that other people don't really pick up.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for those home runs.
Oh yeah, so are we. Yeah, and that's what I tell people. With the exception of electronics, we steer clear of electronics because we just have a terrible experience with them.
Luckily for me, my Goodwill has a 7-day return policy.
Yeah.
And I've got, let's see, over there, that yellow ring above my head is a neon clock.
Yeah.
Directly below it is a little workbench. I've got a TV set up on a little shelf. It's got an HDMI cable plugged into it and an RCA cable set plugged into it where I can test those things. I bring them home. I don't clean them. I immediately plug them in and I test them.
Yeah.
And then if they pass test, then I start cleaning them.
We had that. We did that.
Yeah.
Recently with that television and VCR combo.
Yeah.
We did it, tested it, just like we've learned from you and other people, and we're getting it back from Poshmark broken.
The TV combo, the little CRT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't buy those.
We didn't buy it. Somebody gave it to us. We would never buy it because we don't like selling electronics, but we got it. We sold it on Poshmark, and Poshmark approved a return because the guy said it doesn't work.
Yeah. The last one that I
sold, it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
When we left here.
On eBay, when you get a return on something large, eBay doesn't give them you got to go buy the label and send them the label. I just told the guy, look, just keep the damn thing, throw it away. And I just don't buy them anymore.
I don't believe that this actually broke.
Yeah.
This thing spent its life in an RV.
Yeah.
And the chances of it breaking on the way to wherever this person's house is so slim, it's unbelievable. And then on top of that, it would be nice. It would be nice to be able to formulate some sort of, claim with USPS. But we can't do that because Poshmark owns the shipping account that everybody ships out of. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to sell electronics on Poshmark. I'm just not.
No. Well, we're not going to sell them ever again. So that's our theme now.
I'm good at testing them, and for the most, I've got some drop shippers that are constant customers, repeat customers. And when I get something pretty good, one of them are usually the people who buy it because I test them pretty good. I'll leave a movie playing for a while. I'll rewind it all the way. We did
that.
Yeah. But you see, with a CRT VHS TV combo, the number one buyer for those are young gamers.
Yeah, I know. That's why we sold it. That's the only reason we would sell it.
Those things you're better off when you find one and you can get them just dirt cheap and you can plug it in. It comes on, throw a tape in it and it plays. Take it immediately to the nearest small local gamer store. Oh
no, I have my original Sega Saturn. I plugged it into that television and it worked perfectly because I knew that's what the market would be for them. So I knew we had to test all the inputs. So we tested all the inputs. We tested the output. We tested the VCR, let it movie play all the way through on it, rewound it, fast forwarded it, turned it on, fast forward, rewind. We did everything we could possibly think of with this thing. And he claims it doesn't even turn on.
Yeah. Unfortunately, these young gamer types, they know that most people will just give them the refund and tell them to keep it rather than ship it back.
Well, you can't do that with Poshmark.
Can't do that with Poshmark.
Yeah.
Just make him send it back. And did you take a picture of the information plate with the serial number?
Mm-hmm.
You're good to go. If he sent the wrong one back, you send that picture to Poshmark and they'll take care of it.
Well, I'm already fighting Poshmark on it because I feel like at minimum we should have been at least offered something. Or, maybe refund him, leave us alone and move on. Like,
Right.
because if you're going to guarantee all your shipments in-house because of the way your shipping system works, sometimes you're going to have to take it in the shorts. And this might be one of those things, because I have proof that this thing worked. He has proof, supposedly, that this thing doesn't work. You know, there's got to be a middle ground. And if you want to file your own claim and get it back, that's fine. But you know, as a seller on Poshmark, I feel like I sent out a working television that was worth $150. Now I'm getting back a 12-pound paperweight.
Yeah.
So
a full shipping to get back.
No, they handle the shipping.
Oh, do they? Good. Yeah. I've yet to get a return on Posh.
You very seldom will. That's why I was actually kind of excited when it sold on Posh, because I'm like, hey, we're not going to get this thing back.
Well, I don't sell clothing on eBay anymore. I've got
I know.
measurement boards. With Posh, if they say it doesn't fit, they're like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, which eBay should adapt a similar program.
They should, and the automatic pay on offers too.
Let's not get into that.
Yeah,
we'll be here till 4:00.
I had somebody that took a screenshot, and they're like, "Look at this," and they did the circle of it. We've already got the payment information, and you will be paid immediately. They're like, "Woohoo!" They finally changed it. I'm like, "Nope, they didn't."
Just on certain people.
Just on certain people, and there's no rhyme or reason to who they can do it.
Nope.
I've had brand new, zero feedback guest buyers.
You know what? Yeah, those should be in the list. The other people that should be in the list, the people that already have a strike for not paying for something. There's your list. Real simple. No, they don't care. It helps them pad their books. Whatever.
Hey, listen, man, my wife just hissed at me from around the corner. So apparently she wants me to wrap this up. We're almost
2 hours and 40 minutes. You're longer than my show.
But hey, man, it was real good talking to you. I really
likewise,
appreciate you coming on tonight. But let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Hey, everybody, I am so glad y'all came and hung out with us. And
thanks, guys.
Here even after we got off topic and just started rapping.
That's right.
And I promise I'm going to completely end it this time, because Adam's going to stick around and make sure I do it.
That's right. I am going to.
All right, everybody. Good night, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.